Alright, you and I are jumping right into a world where a boy is mining for the ultimate treasure, ink. Siphoning it into a flask, he thanks Nero, knowing he could never have pulled this off alone. With this in hand, surely the prestigious Pioneer Corps will finally accept him this time. Exiting the damp cave, he looks down at his vibrant city, the shining jewel of the world. Nearby, crowds cheer wildly as the elite colorists return from their latest dangerous mission. Everyone is completely mesmerized by their brilliant colors. Word on the street is they just took down another massive beast. With heroes like them, this shining city stays safe forever. Over in the Shadow District, crowds gather for the C-rank Pioneer entrance exam, open to literally anyone with even a shred of color. But our main character gets tossed out immediately. Because they have told him 1,000 times this is no place for him. Furious, he demands an explanation. He actually brought them real ink. What is the issue? He just proved he has the skills. The guard cannot believe he has to state the obvious. The boy is colorless. Everyone has a predetermined role in life. Yet some fools just do not know their place. Raising his hand, the guard fires a searing blast right past him. He needs to understand that being a pioneer is a path reserved strictly for the chosen elites. Now pay attention, because outside these walls lies the terrifying Black Land, where you cannot even see an inch ahead. Vicious monsters lurk in that absolute darkness. Real pioneers risk everything to explore the unknown, bringing back vital resources. They put their lives on the line for humanity. They are the actual heroes of this world. So a colorless nobody like him stands zero chance. If you lack color, you stick to garbage work. They slam the heavy gates in his face. Nero tries to comfort him, but the boy shrugs it off, saying they can try elsewhere. Rejection is nothing new. He is totally used to it. Besides, he swore he would become the greatest colorist. He carefully tucks his tiny companion back inside his coat, keeping him hidden before heading off to find another way. But as he leaves, a mysterious figure watches from the shadows above with intense curiosity. Sadly, every other attempt ends in failure. It is just another disappointing day. He visits Mari at her workshop, and she immediately guesses he got rejected again from his gloomy look. He sighs in agreement while Nero happily bounces over to her. She scoffs, saying those examiners have absolutely no eye for talent. He is easily stronger than most actual pioneers. Still, he is bitter that they reject colorless people no matter how hard they work. Mari agrees, pointing out that he literally gathers rare materials from the Black Land with ease. You and I both know his skills are already proven. But he humbles himself, asking if she can buy his latest haul. Mari eagerly agrees, promising a great price since she has been running dangerously low on raw ink lately. It is a serious problem. He mentions that the city is actually debating recruiting more pioneers to deal with the shortage. After all, their entire society relies on that ink. He just wishes they would give him a shot since he is ready to sweat. Mari then asks Kay if he considered her previous suggestion, but he remains completely unsure. That guild seems incredibly shady. Slapping a flyer onto the table, she urges him to exhaust every single option. He won't know unless he tries, and this is a great chance. Kay looks down. Up until now, he hesitated because failure seemed guaranteed. He genuinely wonders if his rogue skills will even translate to their tests. Mari insists he must give it a shot. If this organization truly values raw merit, they will absolutely recognize his incredible talents. He still wants to become a pioneer, right? He has dreamed of this since childhood, and she will back him up all the way. Kay realizes she is right. He cannot afford to be picky. He decides to apply to the Dawn Pioneers as well. Thanking Mari, he promises to visit her again very soon. While walking home and studying the recruiting pamphlet, Nero suddenly growls as that same lurking bastard blindsides him. A vicious blade slashes across Kay's back, sending him crashing face-first to the ground. His attacker's ally is shocked he survived the blow, but the assassin shrugs, saying it makes no difference. He will bleed out soon, and nobody sheds tears for a dead colorless anyway. Nero crawls to his face, crying desperately. Losing consciousness, Kay silently prays for Nero to escape. He eventually wakes up inside a completely abandoned ruin. His attacker chuckles at his terrible luck, stating he gets to drop in while still breathing. This pool is the toxic sludge left behind when all colored inks mix. It is incredibly lethal, and trust me, if he falls in, there won't be a single bone left to bury. In short, it is the perfect graveyard. Gasping for air, Kay demands to know why they targeted him in the first place. Trust me, you and I are about to witness a crazy story where even the thug is shocked to find a smart beast in the slums. It is a super rare creature and worth a fortune. Seeing Nero captured, Kay desperately tries to fight back, but a weak, colorless nobody like him has absolutely no chance. Selling this rare beast on the black market will make them rich. He curses his own weakness. He was way too careless and let his guard down when he should have been on high alert. He is used to the cruel insults, but stealing Nero, just for quick cash, that crosses the line. For the very first time, pure rage explodes inside him, summoning a creepy dark mist that immediately alarms his attacker. Feeling his energy draining, the thug tosses Kay aside, growling that they have already wasted way too much time. They need to move fast and make the sale. Trapped in the mud, Kay only thinks of Nero, but his body is completely paralyzed. Is this really how his pathetic life ends? He still hasn't kept that one vital promise. Suddenly a strange voice echoes, asking him why he is just lying there doing absolutely nothing. Now pay attention here as a massive command echoes in Kay's mind, ordering him to stand up and reclaim his lost color. Instantly, the dark ink clears, and Kay looks around in confusion. He cannot remember what just happened, and worse, he has no idea who he even is. Then Nero's cry snaps him back, reminding him he must save his friend. Kay thrusts his hand forward, shocking his attackers as the ink suddenly vanishes, and something terrifying takes its place. Towering above them is their worst nightmare. A monstrous beast made of pure angry ink is aiming a deadly claw right at them. In the aftermath, a terrified old man screams at the authorities, insisting that he saw a massive shadowy hand erupt from the ground and completely destroy the entire street. Of course they ignore him. Meanwhile, two elite investigators, one red-haired and one purple-haired, examine the unconscious victims. Fortunately, only these two shady B-rank pioneers were hurt, and they do not have the cleanest record anyway. Still, the purple-haired investigator finds the case highly unusual. You and I both know something is wrong when victims lose their entire color. Her partner agrees it is a major issue, but they must focus on their primary target, which is the giant beast that somehow appeared right inside the city. Right then, the local police chief rushes over to greet them, eager to show his respect as the officer in charge. He wonders why such high-ranking elites are visiting the slums, but the red-haired investigator tells him to stay calm. They are only here to track a monster. He asks the chief to guide them to the exact spot where the attack happened. The chief quickly points them toward the center of the destruction, where they instantly find traces of the massive creature scattered everywhere, dark black ink. The female investigator explains that they have been tracking all recent reports of giant monsters. But for one of these things to suddenly appear deep inside the city streets is incredibly suspicious and abnormal. Normally, only harmless little beasts like cats or birds show up here. If they are dealing with a dangerous new mutation, they are in serious trouble. Her partner calmly advises her not to jump to any wild conclusions just yet. Still, hunting this monster is going to be a massive headache. He hates the extra work, but they are the only ones qualified for the job. Elsewhere, Kay slowly wakes up to Nero licking his face. He quickly grabs his pet, asking if he is hurt. He is incredibly relieved but has no clue how they managed to survive. It all started with those thugs. He fell into that strange dark ink, and suddenly the memories of what he did begin to rush back. Looking down at his hands, Kay is shocked to find vibrant color, and his hair has turned the absolute deepest shade of black. How is this even possible? How does a colorless nobody suddenly gain such rich color? Looking around, he realizes it is pitch black and he cannot see a thing. He asks Nero for help, and the little beast leaps up, blasting a bright beam of light, only to reveal they are surrounded by terrifying ink monsters watching them. Kay's heart immediately drops. Could they really be trapped in the legendary Black Land? This is the dangerous Black Forest, meant only for high-rank pioneers, and the deadly beasts are already closing in on them. Knowing they cannot fight, he grabs Nero and books it as fast as his legs can carry him. Nero acts as his guide, lighting up the dark path and chirping to warn him of incoming threats. But as Kay runs, he feels an insane surge of power. Stick around because things are about to get wild. You and I are about to watch him run for miles without even breaking a sweat, moving faster than ever. He is literally overflowing with raw energy, but out of nowhere, a ferocious ink wolf leaps out to ambush him. Caught completely off balance, he can't dodge in time and is forced to throw his arm up to block. But the moment those jaws clamp down on his hand, the beast's teeth shatter, shocking them both before the wolf flees. Kay stares in disbelief at his unharmed hand. He thought that bite was fatal. Is this the power of color? Nero issues a panicked warning meow because something massive is stomping this way, an actual giant cyclops. This beast is far deadlier than normal forest monsters. Why would a top predator from the deep woods be here? The giant raises a massive fist and smashes it down, sending Kay flying straight into a tangle of roots. Nero rushes over in a panic, but Kay pulls himself up completely unhurt. He really should be terrified. But watch closely here. because he actually believes he can win now that he has the color he always wanted. Everything changes today. No more running, no more hiding. He recalls the feeling of that overwhelming surge of power from before, and this time he channels it with absolute control. The Cyclops charges, aiming to pulverize him, but K draws back his fist and leaps, punching a massive hole right through the beast, rattling the entire forest. But as he scans his surroundings, the forest suddenly looks completely different to him. He can perceive the forest's true colors, from the radiant leaves to the glowing crystals shimmering in the water. Then just as quickly as it came, his power vanishes, and he collapses, all color draining from his body. He realizes that unleashing this power completely drains his reserves. If he runs dry, he is finished. Suddenly, a dark voice echoes in his mind, asking why he is hesitating. His prey is right there, isn't it? He needs to devour it now. The color he craves is within reach. All he has to do is reach out and consume. In his dazed state, K does exactly that. He touches the fallen Cyclops, and the ink suddenly gets sucked into him like a void, threatening to swallow the whole woods. With the power absorbed, K lets out a shaky sigh. That was way too close. Let's follow him to Mari's workshop. Since he's heavily bundled up, she has absolutely no idea who he is. She demands to know what he wants, asking if he is here to commission some gear. As he draws near, Mari warns him that he looks highly suspicious, and she will bless him if he gets closer. K deliberately teases her, sending her ducking in fear behind her giant wrench. He tells her to chill because it's just him. Realizing his new look threw her off, Mari freezes, recognizing that voice belongs to K. What on earth happened? Once he explains the whole story, she grabs her hammer in a fury, absolutely livid at the betrayal. She refuses to let those scumbags get away with this. They deserve a solid beating with her heavy hammer. K cools her down, assuring her he already gave them exactly what they deserved. Mari apologizes for losing her temper, admitting she was terrified when she completely lost contact with him. She never expected things to go so south, but she's honestly just incredibly relieved they both made it back safely. K feels bad for worrying her, but Mari is still stunned. First, he falls into toxic ink, and now he wields color? Black is the color of monsters. Won't society treat him even worse than before? He doesn't know, but there's no going back. Crucially, he finally has a real shot at becoming an elite colorist. He'll deal with the consequences later. Right now, he must head to the Pioneer Corps exam before time runs out. But first, can he borrow some fresh clothes? He promises to pay her back, making Mari sigh at how often she's heard that. Still, she views it as an investment in a future master. Leading him inside, she says she has the perfect outfit. It fits him like a glove. Meanwhile, a massive crowd gathers for the exam, with applicants sweating from sheer nerves. There are way too many rivals here. Others try to stay calm and focused, whispering that anyone would be terrified of facing this level of competition. One applicant can't believe the moment has arrived to finally test for the legendary Dawn Pioneer Corps. You and I are finally here, aren't we? A red-haired youth reminds them that joining a top corps is the ultimate dream, given how much of the Black Land they've conquered. We are diving into the S-rank Dawn Corps, who have several elite colorists. They are hailed as the shining hope of this entire city, meaning their ranks are filled with massive names. We have the daughter of a legendary color family, a notorious bounty hunter, and highly anticipated rising pioneers. That guy right there is the crowd favorite, Gale the Storm Sword, who is guaranteed to pass. Rumor has it his combat skills are so insane that he defeats dangerous monsters completely solo. But with his terrible violent temper, he is constantly causing trouble, and word is he got kicked out of his last squad. One rookie asks his friend why he is so terrified, claiming that with some training they could easily beat those elites. Listening to their pathetic chatter, Gale just scoffs, thinking they are loudmouths boasting with zero actual talent to back it up. It is honestly pathetic, since he expected way more from an S-rank team than these weaklings. Absolutely nobody catches his eye, except for the girl nearby, Ellie Cyan, the second daughter of the powerful Cyan family. Her color aura lives up to the hype, and he is genuinely curious to see how she will react. But pay attention here, because the speakers suddenly roar to life, announcing the Dawn Pioneer Corps entrance exam is starting. As the legendary colorists step forward, the crowd whispers about how they just played a major role in destroying that giant monster. If these top-tier fighters are showing up in person, they must be taking this recruitment incredibly seriously. For many of the recruits, this is their very first time seeing an actual colorist up close. Their aura is terrifyingly heavy, but the yellow-haired examiner warmly welcomes everyone to the Dawn Pioneer selection. He knows they all arrived with personal goals, whether they are chasing endless riches, supreme power, or glory. But honestly, none of those motives matter to him, because when the dust settles, only true strength and talent count. They are looking for exceptional warriors capable of entering the Black Lands and reclaiming human territory. There is absolutely no space for the weak here, so let us not waste any more time. You can probably tell by looking at the arena, but this first phase is a brutal tournament. Beyond the city walls, raw combat ability is everything, and only the absolute strongest will manage to survive. If you are weak, you die. That is the law of the wild, and you must prove your worth. They will use these battles to select who advances past the first round, so prepare to step up when called. Gale is called up immediately, and the audience is shocked to see a top-tier star fighting right away. Honestly, you and I probably feel terrible for his opponent, but Gale is just thrilled to start the action. He was honestly dying of boredom, and now he is wondering how he should play with his prey. Stepping onto the arena, he faces a creepy cloaked figure standing in a bizarre, incredibly weak-looking posture. But it does not matter, since his life has been incredibly dull lately anyway. On a massive stage like this, there is absolutely no reason to hold back. He instantly unleashes his storm sword, shocking the crowd with how flawlessly he controls his element at such a young age, proving his genius reputation. Gale dares his opponent to try and block, mocking that he is about to be sliced to ribbons. But the moment Gale gets close, the cloaked guy throws a devastating jaw punch, sending the arrogant prodigy crashing into the wall. How on earth did he pull that off in a single strike, knocking Gale out completely? Is that even possible? Kay admits he got startled, wondering why the situation suddenly got so intense. Spectators gasp as they notice his deep black hair, the signature color of monsters, questioning if humans can even possess it. Even the legendary storm sword was utterly annihilated in one blow by this dark ink power. Kay is not trying to act cool. He is genuinely confused why the entire arena went dead silent, fearing he messed up. Every single match Kay fights is an absolute breeze, easily dodging projectiles and taking down his opponents with casual punches. His next two opponents face the exact same fate, offering absolutely no real challenge. The evaluating colorists realize this kid is a gold mine, standing out immensely in this massive pool of rookies. Nobody has ever used black ink before, and trust me, you and I are about to see everyone rush to claim him. Out of nowhere, Chief Red arrives to praise their hard work, sporting a totally unique name. He inquires about how the exam is going, casually checking in with the yellow-haired colorist. The examiner asks why he is even back, since he was supposed to be working on a classified assignment, which Red grumbles was a total frustrating dead end. Alright, let's see if this batch of recruits actually has what it takes to catch our attention. They already spotted someone special. Aside from the famous Cyan family heir, there is this mysterious dark-haired guy. The guy definitely noticed the eyes on him. He just crushed a top-tier opponent like it was nothing. At this rate, his passing grade is practically a done deal. The purple-haired pro wonders if this rookie is the real deal, while Red suspects a new power has emerged. The timing is almost too perfect, but for now they decide to sit back and observe his next move. Kay is riding high on his victory. This path could make him a true legend. Still, he cannot get sloppy. Overusing his color now means losing it again, and that would ruin everything. Suddenly, a blast of pure ice breaks his focus. Ellie, just frozen, shattered another rival without breaking a sweat. The crowd goes wild, whispering about how the Cyan family signature color is as gorgeous as ever. Her flawless control is exactly what you expect from elite bloodlines. She is a total beast. Confident no one can touch her, she walks off stage. She locks eyes with Kay for a second, leaving him totally confused. Watch this closely. Just then, the yellow-haired pro calls an end to the first round. He wraps things up quickly, telling the survivors that they are behind schedule and must start the next trial immediately. Anyone who failed is told to pack up and try their luck next year. The failed candidates leave without making a scene, hoping next year will be easier, right before the examiner can explain the next trial. Suddenly, Red steps up and announces he will be running this round. Shockwaves ripple through the crowd because this guy is a top-tier legend from the Shining City, with insane combat achievements in the wild Black Land. His explosive color is so terrifying that even elite pros refuse to partner with him. Whispers spread that when he takes over, the passing rate drops to absolute zero. These kids are doomed. The examiner nervously asks if this is a good idea, warning that changing the test structure is a massive rule violation. Red just shrugs it off. He gets scolded daily anyway, so what is a little more complaining? He faces the crowd and tells them the rule is simple: just survive. Suddenly, boom, massive heat traps everyone in blazing energy shields. Trust me, we are looking at a recreation of a real deadly wasteland. It is about to get boiling hot, mimicking the brutal elements of the outer wildlands where survival is near impossible. Yet he claims this killer temperature is practically a cozy sauna compared to the real deal. Just stand strong to pass the test. If they cannot even handle this, they never stood a chance. Instantly panic sets in. The heat is unbearable. If this is a joke, how terrifying is the actual black land? They desperate try to push back using their own color, but it does not even make a scratch on the fire. The examiner heard rumors that Red was getting lazy, but his raw power has not rusted one single bit. Instantly, locking dozens of people in perfect individual shields proves those rumors wrong. This control is absolutely insane. But then that is the true power of a peak ranker. But out of nowhere, Ellie effortlessly shatters her fiery barrier using her signature ice color. She easily bypassed the elemental disadvantage like a total pro. She is a certified genius. Red turns his gaze toward the dark-haired kid. The boy is still holding on, but he does not seem strong enough to break out. Maybe Red expected too much from a rookie on his first run. Meanwhile, Kay is panicking because his situation is getting extremely dangerous. He wasted way too much color in his last battle like an idiot. He should have held back, and now he is paying the price. The longer this goes on, the faster his energy fades. His aura is slowly slipping away. If they realize he has run completely dry, they will turn him into a lab rat. He cannot just freeze up. There must be a way. Can he absorb energy like he did before? That is when his eyes lock onto the shield itself. It is pure color energy, so it might actually work. He has no idea what his limits are. Even though the heat is burning, he has to take the risk. He grabs the barrier, and suddenly the raw energy from every single shield starts draining directly into his palm like a vortex. Red stares in disbelief, then grins. Trust me, you and I just saw him find the ultimate wildcard. The room falls dead silent while a terrified Kay stands frozen. This was definitely not the plan. He just painted a massive target on his back. Alright, you and I are about to see Ellie prove the epic power she trained so hard to master. But the arrival of an unseen new color has completely stolen the spotlight, making her feel incredibly anxious inside. Raised to always be the absolute best, she refuses to fall behind anyone, especially if it disappoints her sister. This guy Kay is simply too powerful. Even going all out, she has no guarantee of winning. There is a vibe around him that goes way beyond mere strength. It is something deeper. Who is he really? But his identity does not matter. Next time she will not lose. Meanwhile, Red approaches Kay, noting this must be the power of black ink. Wait, even the glow is different. He swallowed everything up, and Red is now deeply curious. So would Kay mind sharing details about his power? They can have a private chat, and he promises to respect his privacy. Kay asks about his test score, but Red tells him not to worry. He definitely passed. Kay is totally shocked to hear he passed. Did drawing all this attention actually work out for him? Maybe he is finally a true pioneer. Red hands off the remaining tests to the yellow-haired pioneer, who quickly points out the exam is not even finished. Red is just going to run off and do his own thing again, right? Red promises to make it up to him, so the yellow-haired pioneer finally relents. Apologizing for the sudden interruption, he announces the test will continue, except for candidate number 17, who already broke through on her own. Pay attention here. As the others enter an extra round, Ellie only stares at the retreating Kay and Red. Before long, they arrive at the exact spot where Kay fell into the ink waste, which Red describes as extremely dangerous. A major incident happened here recently, where two elite pioneers suddenly lost their colors and became entirely colorless. According to white eyewitnesses, this was a historical first, with some claiming a massive creature exploded from the ground. And right after that chaos, Kay showed up wielding the first ever black ink. That is incredibly suspicious timing, especially with a power that absorbs colors. He is definitely hiding something huge. Kay tries to look away, but this guy has him completely cornered. There is absolutely no way to escape him. After all, this man is celebrated as a hero among colorists. Seeing Kay panic, Red waves his hand and laughs it off as a joke, though he admits teasing someone so honest is boring. Ultimately, his job is to investigate this area. But what truly fascinates him is Kay's unique ability, that mysterious black ink and its terrifying power. It is unlike anything he has ever seen. Color abilities seem straightforward, but they can never be mixed. Yet Kay's power breaks every established rule. Looking at the test, he clearly cannot control it, which is why it swallowed everything around them. Kay cannot deny his lack of control, but Red wants to test him properly. Let's find out together what this power can really do. Red demands Kay grab his hand and absorb his ink. Kay immediately objects, fearing something will go terribly wrong, but Red tells him not to worry about it. He needs to talk less and take action, because that is how true colorists behave. Red knows black represents the cursed lands and the Black Witch, signaling pure misfortune. Letting such an all-consuming power run unchecked is extremely dangerous. If unleashed carelessly, this darkness could easily shatter the entire foundation of their city. Furthermore, a terrifying secret remains hidden. Humanoid monsters are actively roaming wild outside the walls. If K is one of those monsters, Red will execute him right on the spot. Realizing he has no choice, K finally relents and reaches out to grab his hand. But if everything falls apart, K warns Red that he cannot be held responsible. With a deep breath, he unleashes his black ink, drawing Red's power deep into his soul and searing him instantly. He tries to pull back as the temperature spikes, feeling like molten lava is flowing through his veins. Red's power is truly overwhelming. The depth of his power feels completely bottomless. This is the legendary Red hero after all, yet Red remains unimpressed. K's black ink absorbs relentlessly like a starving, mindless beast. While elite colorists might survive this drain, it would easily kill anyone else. Red realizes there is a much deeper secret behind this power. He wants to see how K uses the absorbed energy when suddenly fiery red ink explodes out of him. As the smoke clears, K undergoes a monstrous transformation, making him look exactly like a wild beast. K was definitely the culprit behind the tragedy here. There are so many mysteries surrounding this boy. But first, before things spiral completely out of control, Red must restrain him before K launches an attack. K screams and growls as the power overwhelms him, but the dark voice in his head only begs for more strength. Trust me, you and I cannot miss what comes next. Alright, let's jump in. The power is burning flavorful, but K forces the voice to stand down. With sheer willpower, he manages to calm himself and lock the darkness away. He shocked even Red. K thought he was dead meat. Why did he lose control like that? Losing control in front of the colorist is bad news. He must master his power before it is too late. Red approaches, admitting the power was terrifying, but hey, at least it got the job done. To Red, this is actually pretty exciting. That is more than enough for a test run. By the way, K has probably noticed he is responsible for every disaster here since getting hired. Red must find the culprit, and he has a prime suspect standing right here. Everyone is watching this high-stakes case closely. With K's unstable power and unique color, a single rumor would make him the main target. Even on the city outskirts, the total damage easily hits millions. There is no way K can pay that off. Forget the money, the city authorities might banish him, or worse, turn him into a lab rat. K backs down, there is really no escape. He is just a victim, but what is he exactly? What is he supposed to do? Red offers a sneaky way out, join forces with him and his problems might vanish. K instantly bows and agrees, but Red warns him that this is not a free pass. There will be a few special requests to handle. Can he manage a simple deal like that? K knows he can never pay that massive fine or survive being a lab rat. He will do absolutely anything to work off his debt. He promises to do whatever it takes, which is exactly what Red wanted to hear. Riding in a heavily armored vehicle that feels more like a warship, K realizes he has never traveled this far. Is this his first real step toward becoming a pioneer? Gale, sitting right nearby, tells him to stop acting like a nervous distraction and sit down. K is thrilled. Pioneer work is his dream, and now he is officially part of a team with Gale. But is this actually real life? Before they set off, Red invited him to join an upcoming expedition to a completely unexplored zone, telling him his unique power is absolutely necessary. Noticing K's anxious expression, Red reassured him he would not be alone. There is no need to panic. Every single new recruit is joining, making him just one of the crew. The Corps is announcing the official expedition details soon. Pay close attention here, because this is where the real chaos begins. When K boarded, the others were already waiting. Red's meddling completely disrupted the entire Pioneer exam process. To ensure absolute fairness, everyone received a second chance, allowing the strongest contenders to pass. Even the top-ranked scorer, Ellie, requested to join Red's squad. Meanwhile, Gale is still fuming over getting humiliated by K. He simply let his guard down for a single second, just one. K should not expect to get lucky next time. Once this mission concludes, Gale will be waiting. If Lavian were not sitting right behind them, Gale would attack right now. But Ellie tells him to shut up before he gets knocked out again. He is wasting his breath because K is on a completely different level. Besides, she plans to challenge K first. They made direct eye contact earlier, meaning Gale needs to shut up and wait his turn. But K never actually agreed to that. That look was just him sizing up her energy. Can they actually work together? Soon they pull up to a highly advanced, massive Pioneer outpost. Back when K explored the Black Land, he always prepared completely alone, so he had no clue things could look this grand. A true S-class core setup is massive. Suddenly, a finger pokes his cheek, teasing him for spacing out. It is Mari, and Kay is thrilled. She made sure to come along. You saw that cute creature, right? Nero tagging along makes this even better. Kay thanked her for watching over his pet, but she smiled, saying Nero is already part of the family. Besides, joining the Dawn Corps expedition is a massive opportunity for her. Her skills will be highly valuable, and it is a chance to learn from the best. Just then, a loud voice calls out that assembly is starting. They are heading into the dangerous Black Land. Kay hands Nero back to Mari, knowing it is time to move. Mari warns him not to do anything stupid, while comforting a squirming Nero, promising that Kay will return safe. Nero suddenly leaps straight into his shadow. Trust me, you and I are not ready for what comes next. Let's jump in. She has no idea what is going on, but stopping Kay is impossible now, so it should be fine, right? A fierce woman with bright orange hair orders the squad to prepare themselves as they stand before the ominous Black Land. She reminds them that survival is the top priority. Scout reports show that Area 21 is crawling with strange, deadly beasts. To make matters worse, they even discovered an A-rank corpse here. In short, this zone is pure suicide. While warning her troops to stay alert, a panicked scout rushes over to Lady Arancia. Apparently, Chief Red just went rogue, taking all the rookies out of formation without any permission. Shocked, she demands to know if this is real, and the scout nods. She rubs her temples, absolutely stunned by Red's sheer stupidity. Now they have to rescue those idiot rookies before it is too late. Meanwhile, Kay notices that the main force is marching in a completely different direction. Is their leader actually fine with this detour? Red casually explains they have a different goal, but Kay is deeply concerned since all the raw recruits are grouped together. Why bring these weaklings into a war zone? Red admits he hates babysitting, but boasts that nothing can touch them while he is around. Pay attention here, because we are about to see if his crazy confidence actually holds up. The team arrives at a clearing packed with shadowy ink monsters, and the battle begins instantly. Ellie unleashes her cyan ink to easily destroy her targets, truly realizing the horror of the Black Land. The atmosphere is suffocating, and terrifying monsters keep spawning from every shadow. This real combat is nothing like her academy training. She must manage her energy wisely. If she wastes it, she is finished. It is time to move fast and plan ahead. She refuses to hide behind Kay, but suddenly watching him brutally manhandle a beast, her jaw drops as she asks why he is not using a spoid. He did not even use one during their entrance exam. Kay just stares back blankly, admitting he simply does not own one. Those weapons are ridiculously expensive, so he figured he could just fight without it. He never bothered. The others are completely baffled. He never used one? A spoid is the ultimate mandatory weapon for fighting these beasts. To actually kill these monsters, you have to inject and mix colors using a spoid. Yet this monster of a main character is crushing them bare-handed. Gale starts shaking, realizing he challenged a guy who does not even use weapons and could not even scratch him. His rivalry explodes, and he vows to personally crush Kay with his own hands one day. Watching this, Red just smirks. He loves this tension. It takes true geniuses to fire each other up like this. Trust me, things are about to get way more intense now. He tells them to keep up. They are incredibly close, so they just need one final push to clear this area and celebrate. After slaughtering another wave of ink monsters, Red calls for a quick break. The real mission hasn't even begun yet, so stay alert. They have 10 minutes to rest and recover, and then they march right back out. Gale pulls out a small vial, shocked by how quickly he burned through his color reserves. Kay watches closely as Gale chugs down personal ink, a highly refined alchemical liquid that restores both color and life energy. This is a mandatory survival item, custom-tailored to match a pioneer's specific color. It costs a fortune, yet this rich kid is chugging it like water. Kay is secretly jealous, though it is not like he actually needs any. Ellie watches him walk away and asks what he is doing, right before he literally eats the slain ink beasts. Just like that, his strength is completely restored. Ellie nervously asks if he is alright, but he says he feels amazing. Apparently he does this all the time. Ellie is utterly flabbergasted that he absorbed a literal monster with zero side effects. Gale realizes this guy is a complete freak of nature, who just digests corruption like a tasty snack. Before they can process this madness, Red announces their break is officially over. They need to pack up and keep moving forward. Deep in the wasteland, they stumble upon a massive black barrier, leaving Kay totally puzzled. Red grins and explains this is the exact reason he wanted Kay along. To demonstrate, he fires a massive crimson blast at the barrier. But brute force is completely useless here. The shield simply feeds on the kinetic energy, growing even stronger with every hit. This power-absorbing trick is identical to K's unique ability, which is why Red suspects K can dissolve the barrier entirely. Beyond this wall lies a path to ancient ruins. Hidden deep inside is their ultimate target, the legendary Stella fragments. K freezes in pure shock at those words, while the other rookies wonder what a Stella fragment even is. K keeps his mouth shut. But first, let's see if they can actually break through this barrier. Alright, you and I are about to see something wild. K steps up, touches the barrier, and it instantly vortexes right into him, forcing Red to crack a genuine smile. The barrier is actually vanishing. It looks like his unique ability is going to be incredibly useful going forward. But out of nowhere, the ground starts shaking with an incredibly loud, violent vibration. All that noise immediately backfires. Before they can even finish, a massive army of ink beasts swarms in, drawn by the racket. Red totally saw this coming. It is like a whole crowd showed up to greet them. They will hold off the monsters while K drains the barrier. He quickly orders his allies to clear the field. Gale leaps forward, unleashing his wind-like ink to shred the monsters to pieces, while Ellie summons massive glaciers to impale them. Even Red is impressed. He was fully prepared to jump in, but it looks like he won't have to lift a single finger. He thought he would be babysitting these rookies, but they are easily strong enough to handle this alone. Honestly, it is pretty nice when a plan actually works out. But as K keeps absorbing the energy, he suddenly senses that something is seriously wrong. He feels a familiar energy inside the barrier. Is it because it is also black? One slip in focus and it might steal his own color instead. It is a brutal tug-of-war, but he is stronger. With one final push, he completely drains the barrier, revealing the entrance to the ancient ruins, which looks like a terrifying bottomless pit. K calls out to Red that it is done. Red smiles, satisfied to know his gut instincts about the kid were right all along. He shouts to the others that the path is clear, telling them to regroup and pull back. There is no point in wasting energy on the rest. But pay attention here as a blinding white light flashes in the sky. Red lunges to grab Ellie and Gale right before a devastating strike splits the very earth beneath them. Gale stares in absolute shock at the destruction. Deep claw marks scar the earth, proof that something wanted them dead. Red sighs. He knew things were going way too smoothly. He had heard reports of a highly dangerous entity roaming this sector, and of course it had to show up right now. Playtime is officially over. This ink monster actually looks shockingly human, and it is wielding a massive collection of sharp weapons floating behind its back. It is a literal spirit of vengeance. Red snaps at the group, ordering them to dive into the ruins immediately. They need to work as a team and find those Stella fragments. They are definitely strong enough to pull it off. K panics, wondering how they are supposed to survive alone, but Red literally shoves him into the pit, shouting that they have zero time to argue. K's voice fades out as he falls, still yelling in fear while Red locks his gaze entirely onto the terrifying ink demon. This is going to be a legendary clash. Down below, K crashes to the ground, groaning that his entire body hurts. Red really could have been gentler, but as he switches on his lantern, his eyes widen. And honestly, we aren't ready for this sight. Surrounding him are structures he has never seen before. An entire modern city buried deep underground. It is absolutely awe-inspiring. He cannot comprehend how a massive cityscape exists this deep in the earth. Just then, the others crash land nearby. Gale starts complaining that it is pitch black, but Ellie snaps at him to stop whining and head toward the glowing light. K is just relieved to see them. He admits he thought he was hopelessly lost. Ellie grumbles that they only ended up here because of Gale's terrible navigation skills. But Gale shoots back that she is just as bad, considering she led them around the exact same corner 3 times. Still, this cavern is massive. They never expected to find the ruins of an ancient advanced civilization hidden down here. Red called those items Stella fragments, right? But how are they supposed to locate tiny relics in a city this massive? They do not even know what they look like. K agrees that wandering around blindly will keep them trapped down here forever. At a time like this, he really wishes Nero was by his side. Right on cue, Nero senses the thought and clamps onto his legs, startling him. As he kneels to ask how he got here, Ellie spots him and asks if that is an ink creature. K panics, thinking he is completely screwed. How is he going to explain this? Since she has already spotted Nero, there is no point in trying to make excuses. But honestly, this might actually be a perfect opportunity. It is not like he could keep Nero hidden forever while working as a pioneer anyway. If he can prove that Nero is incredibly useful, maybe they will cut him some slack. He waves the two over, claiming he found an easy shortcut to track down the Stella fragments. After hearing the explanation, Gale tries to make sense of it. So this tiny monster is actually his pet. and it is supposedly going to guide them straight to the Stella fragment. Kay nods confidently they will definitely find it. While the boys argue, Ellie completely ignores them, happily cuddling a very confused and increasingly annoyed Nero. Kay tells Nero to show this idiot what he can do. Nero leaps from Ellie's hands, bursting into a brilliant white light that stuns Gale. And trust me, we can't miss what happens next. We are jumping back in as Ellie feels pretty down. Following close behind Kay, Gale finds this absolutely mind-blowing. A creature loyal to a human with its own unique powers. He has never seen anything like this. Meanwhile, Kay knows Nero can sense their target nearby. That Stella fragment is close by, right? Hearing this, Nero sharpens his focus and locks onto a signal. It is a shard of white ink. The little guy bolts forward, leading the group straight into a dark bunker. They have descended so far already, making Gale wonder how deep this place goes. He asks what the holdup is. Is Kay chicken? If so, he can stay behind, but Kay is definitely not backing down. Stepping further inside, they discover a massive chamber. It looks like a giant storage facility, though they have no way of knowing for sure. Nero suddenly veers off, stopping right in front of a heavy door just as a massive machine drops down. It slams onto the floor with earth-shattering force. Gale admits Nero found something, but what on earth is this thing? This is no beast. It is a highly advanced piece of ancient machinery. It instantly starts scanning Ellie, reading her exact hex color code before quickly shifting its sensors to do the same to Gale. Pay attention here, as the machine scans Kay, it completely freezes upon realizing his code is just 0. The signature of the Black Witch is detected, instantly classifying Kay as an extreme threat. The machine initiates Purge Protocol with a brutal punch, but Kay barely manages to block the heavy blow. With the team rushing to help, Kay drives his fist into the metal hull, pushing it back. What is this thing built from? Before the threat can retaliate, Ellie and Gale launch their best attacks, but they cannot even leave a single scratch on it. Since her magic has 0 effect, Ellie realizes this is no ordinary monster. Could that glowing core be the weak spot? They absolutely must strike that core, no matter what. Kay lunges and lands a heavy blow on its flank, but it shrugs it off, counter-attacking with a swing he barely manages to dodge. Basic attacks are totally useless here, so what now? He needs to coat himself in that black energy again to stand a chance. Since it drains his life force fast, he concentrates the black ink just around his fist, completing the charge in seconds. As the enemy lunges, he unleashes a devastating punch, completely obliterating the metal beast while leaving the core perfectly intact. And just like that, the machine shuts down. Kay lets out a sigh of relief since that fight was way tougher than expected. Grabbing the core, he notes it looks completely different from normal ones. Mari is going to be thrilled when she sees this, but the others are left completely stunned by his terrifying power. I know what you are thinking. Ellie is just as confused as we are right now. She needs to understand his capabilities so they can coordinate better in future battles. Gale complains that he should have used that ultimate move from the start, but Kay points out they are not the ones getting beaten up. That move drains way too much energy to use casually. But before they can argue, the door Nero was guarding swings open on its own, revealing a dark abyss. Nero hops out of hiding and points directly inside, signaling that their prize is waiting in the dark. Kay cannot see a single thing inside, wondering if this is another strange barrier like the one from before. But the moment his hand makes contact, an invisible force grabs them, dragging them deep inside with irresistible power. They are pulled straight into the dark void, and as they pick themselves up, they try to comprehend this bizarre realm. The darkness is absolute, leaving only their own bodies visible, though they have been completely drained of all color. Everything is pure monochrome except for Kay. Meanwhile, back in the city's Eastern Administration office, a heavy-set official slams his fist onto his desk in absolute rage. Glaring at a pile of reports, he demands to know if anyone has managed to track down his location yet. The nervous secretary hesitates before reporting that the target is currently out on an active expedition with Red. The official is flabbergasted, wondering how anyone could possibly bring dangerous black ink out into the open field. What is Red thinking? He might be a legendary hero, but this time he has crossed the line. When that beast first showed up in the city streets, they had to cover it up to prevent a massive public panic. Now the council is in a total frenzy, screaming that the Black Tide is returning. How is he supposed to handle them? He will just get chewed out, and nothing will actually be solved. Smiling Shamalaya notes that his bad temper is going to put him right back in a hospital bed if he is not careful. As the Dawn Pioneer captain, she understands his worry but warns him not to panic. Trust me, our journey is just starting. Let's dive right into this crazy world. Having Red watch over that boy is their only real insurance policy. Besides, nobody else can even handle the job. But who knows? Bringing along someone so highly volatile might just be a deliberate move to pull off another total wildcard stunt. Right now, they cannot afford fear or doubt. They must trust the colorists. She takes a sip of her coffee, grimacing at the bitterness, and dumps in a handful of sugar cubes. The director understands completely. Red is their ultimate shield against disaster, yet she also knows exactly why he is so terrified of black. It is all because of that infamous black ink witch. That color is pure danger. It represents absolute death and fear. When the witch unleashed the first black tide, humanity was almost wiped out completely. Nightmarish beasts emerged as a dark fog swallowed the world, leaving only dead, blackened soil, and that tide will inevitably return. Though the city has survived several waves already, the next major cataclysm is just a ticking time bomb. Their frantic struggle to reclaim the lost land is driven by one single goal: survival. Now pay attention, because weird anomalies are spiking across the city, and now a wielder of black ink suddenly appears. No one knows how these two events are linked, or if they are even related at all. But one thing is certain: to survive the future, they need every bit of military might they can gather. As Lord Luminous pointed out, every single asset must be weaponized, even if that asset is black ink. The director sighs, urging him to convince the council. That is easier said than done. Those politicians would rather feel safe than actually be protected. He will do his best, but who knows? The entire future of Shining City might soon revolve around this kid. Meanwhile, deep in the ruins, the trio is baffled. Gale points out that their colors vanished, so how does Kay still have his? Kay has no idea. Maybe it is because of his black ink. Suddenly, an intense weakness washes over them. Just speaking drains every ounce of their strength. Kay is confused. He feels completely normal. Is it because they have never been colorless before? Besides, Kay has felt a strange, unsettling vibe ever since entering this bizarre space. When he concentrates, he can almost see something shifting inside them. Suddenly, a barrage of garbled, chaotic whispers echoes around them. Gale draws his weapon in a flash, furiously demanding that whatever is speaking reveal itself. Kay recognizes the whispers. They are similar to before, but far more ominous. He gets a terrible feeling about this. You and I are about to see something wild. A ghostly woman appears, points directly at Kay, and violently drags his consciousness into a vision. He witnesses a devastating vortex ripping the city apart. A figure of pure black ink summons a legion of city-destroying monsters. And right there, the Black Witch stares back at him with hollow, terrifying eyes. Kay panics. Is this a memory or the future? Who is he really? Suddenly, a voice echoes in his mind, naming him Kay and commanding him to search for his own true light and color. Before he can make sense of it, he is violently ripped from the vision, gasping in absolute shock. He wonders what that madness was, but it felt entirely too real. Did Lumiel suffer through this exact same nightmare? Nearby, Gale is wildly slashing his sword, screaming about some terrible mistake he made, while Ellie weeps, begging for the pain to stop. Their eyes are coated in pitch-black ink, trapped inside their deepest, darkest nightmares. Each illusion is uniquely terrifying. Kay can see his friends are breaking down, while that mysterious phantom still lingers in the dark. This domain is deadly. They need to escape before they lose their minds entirely. Out of nowhere, Nero arrives. He seems totally immune to the chaos, but he eagerly tries to point Kay towards something. Kay realizes Nero wants him to follow his path. He will investigate, but first he must save his two suffering companions. He asks Nero if his unique abilities can snap them out of it, and the little guy tries. Nero radiates a brilliant white aura, instantly shattering the terrifying illusions trapping them. Relieved, Kay commands them to stay put and recover while he heads down the path alone to investigate. He pushes forward along Nero's trail, but the trek feels completely endless, surrounded by nothing but pure, suffocating darkness. Then the whispering voice returns, and this time the message is crystal clear. No color can ever stain him. Kay is seriously sick of this cryptic garbage. Suddenly, a faint light flickers in the distance. He immediately sprints toward it. There, sitting right in front of him, is their ultimate prize, the legendary Stella fragment. Yet its shape and glow are totally different. Perhaps every single fragment holds its own unique, distinct appearance. But that doesn't matter right now. Let's hope he can grab it and escape this creepy place before things get even worse. You and I are about to watch everything go wild as he touches the Stella fragment, and his absorption suddenly activates. He thinks he is safe because that absorption power only flared up for a second and now seems to have stopped completely. But as he grips the Stella fragment tighter, the deep black space surrounding them suddenly vanishes. Instead of being completely blown away like anyone else, Kay just casually remarks on how mysterious this place is. He walks over to ask the others if they are feeling better, leaving both of them absolutely stunned by his recovery. Ellie demands to know how he survived that terrifying darkness, but Kay just shrugs, pointing out the Stella fragment they came for. Gale wonders if this is the tiny object Chief Red mentioned, while Ellie thinks it is absolutely incredible. Look at those swirling colors. What is this? While they chat, Nero eyes the fragment with deep suspicion before suddenly opening his mouth and swallowing it whole. Kay yells that it is not food while Gale violently shakes Nero, screaming at him to spit it out before he reaches in himself. Kay tries to pull Gale off, but as they continue arguing, the entire building begins to crack and the ceiling crumbles. Pay attention here. The place is collapsing, and they have to run for their lives to get out fast. Meanwhile, the main expedition team searches the ruins and finally locates a massive battlefield. Arancia finally understands the warnings about a dangerous entity, realizing these devastating battle scars point to only one monster. That fight-obsessed bastard is back, the terrifying human-shaped monster known as the Sword Demon. She hoped it was just a simple turf war between local beasts, but this is one of the witch's black hands. This creature always strikes first whenever it appears, and it is incredibly smart and cunning, too. Dealing with it is a massive headache, especially with recent reports of beast outbreaks across several pioneer zones. Is this monster behind those outbreaks? She cannot take that gamble, so this investigation ends right now. They must retreat immediately, completely shutting down her assistant's protests that they have almost reached their destination. They already secured their basic needs, collecting plenty of ink and raw materials. Why risk more lives when the main goal was simply training rookie members to survive the Black Lands anyway? But suddenly a massive blast erupts behind them, and they realize it is powered by red ink. Watch closely as a barrage of razor-sharp energy suddenly erupts right at them. Arancia screams at everyone to duck, and seeing her rookies frozen in fear, she lunges forward with her giant warhammer to shatter the lethal strike completely. She firmly declares that this mission is officially over. While the rest head back to base, she runs off to regroup with Chief Red. She leaps into the fray where Red is locked in a fierce high-speed duel with the Sword Demon. The Sword Demon thrusts a deadly spear to impale Red, but the Chief blocks and disarms him instantly. However, the defense leaves Red open, and the demon immediately strikes. Red parries the blow, unleashing a massive surge of red ink that forces his opponent back, just as Arancia arrives to praise his bait. Testing if the demon can dodge her next, she delivers a devastating overhead hammer strike that slams him into the dirt. Red complains that her late arrival almost got him killed, but she tells him to stop fooling around. Even though her direct bone-crushing strike hit him dead on, it is still not enough to defeat this beast. How tough is this guy? Red says they are fine with her color. Together they can easily crush this annoying opponent, but they still cannot afford to hold back. Arancia is glad she arrived before he went all out, since absolutely no colorist, including herself, wants to see his true power. Since she is here, they might as well sever another of the witch's black hands, right? Sensing he is outmatched and heading toward defeat, the Sword Demon begins to panic, right as Kay's voice suddenly echoes out that they have almost arrived. Everyone freezes in shock as familiar voices start shouting from directly behind the cornered Sword Demon. Kay's group suddenly bursts onto the scene, immediately spotting the strange monster and the two powerful fighters waiting behind it. The colorists rush in, desperately trying to arrive in time. Chief Red desperately screams for them to get back, but the Sword Demon is too fast, lunging forward and instantly scattering Gale and Ellie with one brutal sweeping strike. Next, he charges a lethal wide-range attack. And trust me, you and I are left hanging as Kay jumps in to shield his friends from that brutal strike. Alright, you and I are starting at the worst moment. Kay's ink-reinforced arm gets sliced, sending him crashing, while Gale takes a heavy gut punch and Ellie gets snatched. The Sword Demon barks at the colorists to freeze, demanding they clear a path and stop their pursuit. He wants the key, and he wants it now, threatening to slaughter these weaklings if they refuse. Kay is down on the dirt while his tiny companion cries out. It is a desperate standoff, the demon's blade literally touching Ellie's throat. But then, everything changes. Kay slowly pushes himself up, radiating a terrifying pressure that makes even the Sword Demon freeze in sheer panic. Kay has completely transformed into pure black ink, his severed hand miraculously piecing itself back together in real time. The Sword Demon is completely baffled. How is this kid even standing? And why does a human even possess the black in the first place? Using that newly formed hand, Kay begins dragging the sword demon toward him, unleashing an overwhelming force unlike anything before. Now pay attention, because this moment is absolutely wild. Kay shocks everyone by grabbing the demon's throat, lifting him up, giving Arancia the chance to scream for the others to run. Red is completely lost. Has Kay been entirely consumed by the black? Could he have turned into one of those monstrous black hands? The sword demon can feel it. This freak is literally draining his very soul. This is no illusion. This terrifying power is identical to that witch, and those glowing eyes are staring right through him. So it was him. He was the key all along. Suddenly, a swarm of grotesque, erratic mouths erupt from Kay's hand, slowly crawling their way up to the demon's face, aiming to swallow him alive. But the sword demon acts fast, pulling his final blade to slash the horrific mouths away. He knows he cannot capture the key like this. The power is too unstable, so he ruthlessly cuts off his own limbs. Those can always be replaced later. He unleashes a barrage of lethal strikes, but his sword passes harmlessly through Kay's ink body. Kay grabs the blade and spreads his dark ink across the ground. The sword demon leaps backward just in time to avoid being dragged under. But even he is left utterly stunned that things would turn out like this. Seeing an opening, Arancia charges forward, smashing her massive hammer into his sword so hard it shatters, forcing him back. And you know what? The demon realizes this is too risky, choosing to retreat now since finding the key is already a massive win. He bolts, leaving Arancia absolutely furious. How dare he run away after causing all this chaotic destruction? Seeing him flee the moment things go south, she shouts to Red that they must stop him before he reaches the depths. Red is already on him, asking where he thinks he is going as he unleashes a massive surge of his power. Channeling it into his blade and Chroma, he unleashes an extinguishing flame strike, severing the demon's hand and splitting the earth. This means he loses that hand forever, because with Chroma, the sword demon cannot regenerate his wounds. Red relentlessly presses the attack with a series of fatal blows, but the desperate demon manages to barely dodge each lethal swing. He swears that next time will be different, the key will be his, and he will earn her favor. With a final leap, he vanishes into the deeper shadows. Arancia wants to give chase, but Red stops her. Advancing any further is suicide. Frustrated, she stomps her foot hard enough to crack the ground. Angry that they had him cornered only to lose him, but Red knows they have no choice. They are completely unprepared to enter the depths, even with light at their backs. This is their absolute limit. It is infuriating how the black land itself serves as a shield for those monsters. The others return with Ellie, who tearfully apologizes for being a burden. But Red reassures her. He is just thankful everyone made it out alive. Arancia mutters that surviving an encounter with that freak is nothing short of a miracle. Red simply coughs, changing the subject by asking what they should do with Kay now. Is he even conscious inside there? He knew Kay's power was dangerous, but this is on a whole different level. What is that terrifying entity behind him? Is he completely trapped by it? Or is he actually absorbing the black land itself? Suddenly, the swirling black energy around him begins to dissipate, but instead of reverting to ink, he turns into a glowing, colorless figure and collapses. Everyone stands frozen, staring at him and wondering what kind of monster he really is. The kid just keeps defying all logic. Meanwhile, the sword demon escapes into the dark, purging the draining Chroma from his hand so he can finally regenerate. Suddenly, a voice echoes, mocking him for arriving first but looking like absolute garbage. Did he get his ass kicked again? She tells him to stop sticking his nose where it doesn't belong. The demon recognizes her voice. And trust me, you and I are about to see a new threat. It is Viper, accompanied by a shy companion, circling him as she giggles about how bored she was making this perfect. She demands to know what happened. No way a powerhouse like him just got beaten. Who did he fight? Looking closely at those searing, unmixed red burn marks, you and I realize he fought Red and somehow lived to tell the tale. The sword demon tells her to beat it, but she refuses, agreeing that Red is far too strong for any human. A guy who burns himself up just to fight will probably self-destruct one day anyway, right? Why is he staying silent? He noticed it too, right? That the Black Witch's veil has finally opened. She knows he saw it, but does he know why? The sword demon ignores her, wondering why he would ever share that with her. Once the key's identity gets out, they lose everything. So he wants to claim it himself. Viper gets bored and returns to her sister, noting that by hiding it so hard, he is making it obvious that something is definitely up. He is a complete idiot, but whatever. They would have figured it out anyway. Judging by his reaction, Viper knows there is definitely something major behind that veil opening. It probably involves the city folk. Luckily, she has just the thing to turn the tide. A little puppy they have been cooking up for a while. Hold on tight. because things are about to get wild as they all head back to the city with Mary. They all look at Kai, Red's admitting he has absolutely no excuse for this. He confidently promised nothing would happen, but he failed to keep his word. He is deeply sorry. What happened is his responsibility. It seems nothing has changed about him even now. Ellie reassures him that given the survival rate of rookie pioneers, they are lucky. If anything, everyone made it out alive thanks to both of their chiefs. She also promises that next time she won't hold back and will get stronger. Mary wonders what on earth is going on. She cannot believe she is seeing the city's most famous colorist in a place like this. They claimed to be Kai's teammates, and just showed up out of nowhere. Seeing Kai in this state gave her a bad feeling, but they seem like good people, which is a relief. Still, why isn't he waking up? She cannot handle all this alone. The nurse said nothing is wrong, so he should wake up any second. Red approaches her and says there is no need to worry about Kai's condition, but he also wanted to ask her something. They are looking for a small creature named Nero. Does she know where it is? Suddenly, Gale spots it creeping out of Kai's shadow and points it out, while the creature looks totally confused by the sudden attention. Gale tells Red this creature swallowed the Stella fragment. Let's pause here, because explaining how that happened is going to be incredibly tough. He instantly tries to grab Nero, but the quick cat dodges, using his head as a launchpad straight into Mary's arms. She knew he was hiding in Kai's shadow. Red stares at the beast, finding something strangely familiar about it. Perhaps he is just imagining things. Suddenly, Nero opens his mouth and spits out the Stella fragment. As Ellie sighs in relief, Red grabs the fragment, knowing they have finally recovered another crucial piece. So many sacrifices all for such a tiny object. Kai slowly starts regaining consciousness, remembering the brutal attack he just suffered, and suddenly jolts wide awake right as Red picks up the glowing fragment. He wonders where he is and where his attacker went. But wait, more importantly, he is completely colorless right now, isn't he? What excuse can he make? If he gets kicked out again like last time, he has nowhere left to go. Red tells him to hold his head high and stop looking so miserable as if he committed some crime. He does not care about appearance. What matters is that they all performed brilliantly on their very first expedition. He did not expect them to achieve this much. He will be training them hard from now on, so they should brace themselves. He formally welcomes them to Red's team. Kai is shocked but then smiles and bows, promising to do his absolute best under his guidance. Red is glad they have covered all the essential matters, so they are free to dismiss themselves while he goes to meet Lord Luminous. With that, he departs, leaving Ellie to speak first. He probably has a lot of explaining to do, but she won't push. Does he remember what happened after losing consciousness? Remembering Red's warning to keep quiet for now, Kai claims he does not really recall much from back then. Ellie agrees to drop it for now. He is clearly hiding something, but she lets it slide. More importantly, is there any way to restore his color? Mary tells her not to worry about that. She is prepared for exactly this. Trust me, you and I are about to see what she pulls from her pack. So you and I are starting with this strange black ink Ellie salvaged from a trash dump. It is highly dangerous waste, but Kai just laughs and pops the cork. He tells her she is the absolute best for finding it. With that, he downs the fluid instantly and completely regains his natural, vibrant color. Mary knows this is just a quick fix though, and mentions having way more at her workshop. They need to head there. But Gale stands silent before coldly asking if they are done with this pointless chatter. Gale is leaving, his arm fully restored. Regeneration is a legendary skill that only top-tier healing colors should possess. How on earth did Kai pull that off? More than anything, Gale demands a straight answer. Why did Kai throw himself in front of that deadly attack back then? Kai rubs the back of his neck, admitting he just sensed danger and thought his power could block the blow. He failed miserably, but hey, that is in the past. Enraged, Gale grabs Kai by his collar and warns him never to mess around like that again. Nobody asked for his help, and Gale still absolutely detests his guts. Mary immediately calls him out for suddenly snapping at Kai. Gale stays quiet, shoves Kai aside, and walks away. Mary is furious he left without apologizing, but Ellie sighs, explaining that is just how the guy is. Either way, Ellie is heading out too, meaning their match is officially postponed for now. Watch closely here. Before they head back, Kai has a wild trophy to show her from his dangerous expedition. He salvaged it thinking she would love it, rummaging through his bag until he pulls out a glowing robot core. Meanwhile, Red marches through glowing, majestic halls, eventually reaching a massive throne room. Luminous welcomes him warmly, saying she has been waiting. Red smirks, promising her patience will be well rewarded. He finally has some incredible news to share. Just as planned, they successfully breached the Black Witch's veil. Meanwhile, in her shop, Mary is busy dissecting that ancient core. This is genuine long-lost ancient tech, a specialized device fueled entirely by raw ink. Using ink is normal, but the pure efficiency of this thing is mind-blowing. Just a tiny bit of faded ink kept a broken golem running for centuries. Their tech was unreal. Kai thinks it looks like an ordinary core, but Mary eagerly assures him it is highly unique. Even legendary explorers barely find these rare relics. I mean, can you even imagine living in that glorious ancient era? A world of lost history and advanced science. Kai instantly smells a fortune. If it is an ancient relic, can they sell it for massive cash? Mary groans at his complete ignorance. Does he really think a passionate technician would trade an opportunity like this for simple cash? Naturally, she is going to tear it open and study it. He should get ready. Ideas are sparking in her mind. She is going to craft the absolute perfect custom gear for him. Seeing her look this thrilled, Kai knows bringing that core back was the right call. He scoops up Nero, promising to return later, but Mary stops him. She just remembered a mysterious visitor. It happened when she ventured deep into the dangerous Shadow District to find healing ink. Some total strangers suddenly approached her. At first, she figured they were just random thugs from some neighboring territory, but they knew exactly who they were tracking. They specifically demanded to meet the legendary Black Wielder that everyone has been gossiping about lately. Sensing immediate danger, she quickly ran away instead of talking. Kai agrees that things are getting pretty dangerous. He warned her never to wander deep into that zone, but her search was a matter of life or death. She warns him to stay far away from those creepy folks. Still, Kai cannot shake off this uneasy feeling. His neighborhood is normally peaceful, meaning there should not be any major trouble unless they specifically want him. They will surely hunt him down directly if they want something. Strolling through the quiet streets, Kai realizes how exhausted he feels. Come to think of it, he has not slept in his own bed for ages. He needs to head back and rest. Yet the surface is crawling with shady drifters lately. Underground thugs are suddenly creeping up to the surface. Is a gang war brewing? Suddenly, Nero tugs on his clothes, pointing urgently toward a dark, narrow alleyway. Kai hesitates, knowing that entering the deeper Shadow District is an invitation for absolute disaster. But Nero insists, and trust me, we are heading straight into danger. All right, you and I are about to dive into a world where instincts are never wrong. It is time to test his training. Just like coating his fists in darkness, he channels that raw power straight into his eyes. Lately, his eyes have been shifting on their own, letting him spot things hidden from normal people. Copying that feeling is his best bet for piercing the darkness. This secret technique is called inverted sight. The moment he activates it, a vibrant, colorful woman appears, but before he can ask a single question, she slips away. He rushes after her, instantly wondering if this mysterious figure is the one who wanted to meet him. If so, he cannot lose her track. For Mary's safety, he absolutely has to catch up right now. But pay attention here. As he rounds the corner, he is instantly pulled into a completely different dimension. The exit seals shut behind him. Lord Luminous finds him fascinating, admitting she did not plan on showing herself so soon. After all, tracking her down is no easy feat. Startled, Kai jumps back and demands to know her identity. She simply smiles, welcoming the child of black. Her name is Celestia. Kai stares in awe as her body radiates a spectrum of brilliant colors, just like that legendary figure. Could she be the current Luminous? The actual ruler of this shining city has come down to meet him. But why now? Just how long have they been tracking his every move from the shadows? Suddenly, a dark voice floods his mind with absolute authority, demanding that brilliant light. It commands him to devour everything, leaving absolutely nothing behind as it completely takes over his thoughts. Celestia is barely even surprised to see him suddenly get swallowed up by this creeping black energy. Honestly, she does not even try to stop it. Red warned her about this condition, but seeing it in person is fascinating. He is entirely consumed by dark energy. Yet he breathes normally, showing zero signs of turning into one of those twisted black hands. There must be a link between him and the Black Witch. The higher-ups wanted him dead, but she has other plans. If he can survive without losing himself entirely, his unique power might be the key to saving their city. They cannot afford to play nice. If harnessing the power of the black ink works, they must use it. True victory demands massive risks, so why not sit down and have a little chat first? She summons her glowing staff and slams it down, instantly vaporizing the creeping darkness within Kai's mind. Clutching his face, he gasps that the dark voice was incredibly clear. Celestia tilts her head, wondering whose voice it actually was. Was it the notorious Black Witch? Kai shakes his head, calling it a faint whisper. Celestia gently tells him to relax. She simply received a report from Red and wanted to see him in person. But before that, she wants to officially thank him on behalf of the city. Kai is confused until she pulls out a stela fragment. Very few citizens understand what this artifact truly represents. Recovering this sacred light is more than enough reason to thank him. Kai insists his entire team did it, and Celestia agrees. He is claiming it was a group effort, right? She is well aware of that fact. But the real shocker is that he opened the Black Witch's veil. Does he even comprehend how insane that achievement is? Let's pause here. None of the Luminous, not even Celestia, could ever break that barrier. Only the witch herself should be able to do that. These fragments lie hidden across the ruined Black Lands. But almost all are locked behind her veil. They constantly fight the vicious Black Hands just to claim a single piece. Before today, they only grabbed lucky remnants left exposed on the surface. Kai nods, slowly piecing the mystery together. Still, why share all this with him? He does not even know their purpose. Why are leaders like Red so obsessed with these shards anyway? Celestia laughs, realizing she skipped the most crucial explanation. Actually, seeing is believing. She urges him to keep this absolute secret as nobody else must know. Only a tiny inner circle knows the truth. Suddenly, the void around them warps into a massive, breathtaking cityscape. She tells him to relax, explaining she just teleported them directly to her private sanctuary. He is the first outsider to witness this place. He must watch closely, because the light shining from this darkness is about to blow his mind. Channeling the Stella fragment, she fires a blinding beam of colorful energy, mimicking a massive orbital strike. Kai watches in utter shock as the corrupted Black Lands are physically forced back. Unsurprisingly, news of this miracle spreads instantly. And just like that, you and I witness a brand new dawn as the Luminous successfully reclaims their sacred territory. Stick with me. We're diving in as everyone digests the news of yesterday's massive light pillar. This is an absolute game changer, meaning humanity finally has some real defense against those terrifying beasts. But the real hype? This newly opened territory is about to bring a massive wave of opportunities. They'll find rare resources and precious ink. Meanwhile, Kai skims the paper while overhearing a nearby conversation. Some wealthy families are already funding new pioneer expeditions. To get a cut, you have to invest early. Kai is honestly shocked the city went this chaotic in just 24 hours. Then again, given yesterday's insanity, it makes sense. Recall that after lighting up the wasteland, Celestia floated down and asked him if he witnessed everything. Stella's mysterious fragments are far more powerful than he realizes. What he retrieved is incredibly rare, meaning he must stay alert. The ruthless Black Hands are hunting them too. Watch closely, they will hunt him ruthlessly if they discover his power, but he shouldn't panic just yet. The city has suppressed their influence for years, and they will protect him. Still, she feels deeply regretful. She wants to offer more help, but the city is desperately burning through resources, and she is using all her power to halt the encroaching Dark Lands. Because of this, she cannot stay away long. He is truly special. He must remember this. Countless people will either dread his power or try to exploit it. While she will try to prevent major disasters, he is free to work as a pioneer however he likes. Just keep doing what he has always done. Plus, she promises that Red's team will be handsomely rewarded for their efforts. With a free day on his hands, Kai decides it is time to get moving. But what is his next move? He recalls that Mary was stressed after running completely out of ink. Since he has the time, maybe he can help. Heading out to mine like the old days, he makes his way toward the bustling gathering hall. He never expected to actually step foot in here. This massive hall is where every type of pioneer gathers. As a lowly colorless, he could not even stand near this building. Now he enters proudly as an equal. The second he steps inside, heads turn. Everyone instantly recognizes him as the legendary first Black Wielder. Some mutter that he looks creepy up close, finding him bizarre and downright ugly. You and I both know how fast rumors spread. Instantly, the entire hall fills with toxic trash talk. Up on the balconies, elite colorists stare down in amusement, fascinated by this unprecedented anomaly. A purple-haired elite snaps at her companion to stop acting childish and sit back down. But the red colorist asks if she is truly blind to Red's choice. After all, wasn't Arancha actually there? How was he? Arancha admits he left a massive impression, but warns that he carries a dangerous, unpredictable risk that they must monitor closely from now on. This only fuels the red colorist's intense curiosity since Kai alone commands the legendary black ink. The friendly receptionist greets him, asking if it is his first visit, and Kai politely requests any available mining jobs. She explains that since he does not have an official pioneer badge yet, He needs to register. New recruits typically start with easy tasks like basic mining or pest control. Low-rank colorists sneer at him, whispering that he is a disgusting monster. One insults him openly, calling him a vile, unnatural freak. He cannot understand why everyone is hyping up a complete joke of a pioneer. Their arrogant boss completely agrees, muttering that looking at this black ink user physically offends his eyes. He hated him since the expedition. To him, Kai is just a lucky half-breed who got spotted by an elite. He is a complete rookie with zero real experience. Why on earth are they treating him like a big deal? Highly skilled B-rank veterans like himself should be getting these spots instead. Since he is leaving now, and their duty is to cleanse pollution, they decide to go purify him themselves. Stepping outside the city walls, Kai activates his new power and instantly spots an unprecedented amount of glowing ore. With global mining yields plummeting, this discovery is massive. These precious ores can power weapons or act as raw ink. These will fetch a high price, and Mary is going to be absolutely thrilled. With his upgraded vision, harvesting rare materials is incredibly effortless. He sees everything hidden, but it drains him fast. Trust me, you and I can't miss what's next. Alright, let us dive into this wild journey because our main character is done dumping all the work on Nero. Returning with a haul this massive will only draw unwanted attention, so he decides to just kill some time. This is the perfect chance to practice that power he has been avoiding. His main skill? Ink drain. He has to touch things directly to use it, and sometimes the power just goes totally wild. To survive, he needs complete control. He breaks a color stone right down the middle and instantly siphons away every single bit of its color. And that was a seriously expensive stone. It feels a bit ridiculous, but he is finally starting to get a real feel for it. Thinking back, the brighter and more vivid the color, the more his ink would spiral out of control. It got even worse when those creepy whispers started. At least he knows the trigger now. Watch closely here, because keeping this terrifying power from consuming him is going to be a massive, constant struggle. Do they just bleed together and turn black? Every color should have its own unique properties. Maybe he can learn to wield them separately. After all, black is just every single color combined, right? Maybe he can use every color just like Luminous. He shuts his eyes to focus. He remembers Red's blazing heat, picturing his entire body turning to raw fire. He manages to manifest a tiny red stone, but it instantly shatters to pieces. Clearly, mastering this is not going to be easy. He keeps grinding until the sun goes down. With the sun fully set, he heads back carrying his heavy sack of stones, wondering if he overdid the training. But as he approaches the city gates, a gang of low-tier colorists jumps him from the shadows. Their smug leader mocks him, saying it is amazing to run into a local celebrity out here, and calls him the useless run of the litter. Another thug grumbles that they should have moved quicker, thinking their target had already slipped away. They call him a rude newbie with a massive attitude. Kai just stares back, totally clueless about who these guys even are, but a thug raises his hand, demanding to know what he is looking at. What are you going to do with that info? Can you not tell just by looking at us? Drop everything you are holding right now. But then one of the others tells him to hold on. They notice a bright glow spilling from his bags. Those are color ores, and there are a ton of them. A blue-haired colorist excitedly tells his boss that this kid brought some high-quality stuff. The boss grins, thrilled to find such convenient loot. He got lucky for a rookie, but trying to hog all of this is a big mistake. They think if they squeeze him, he will reveal his secret mining spot. You and I know how this ends, but the boss orders his boys to teach him a lesson. As the thugs draw their weapons, Kai calmly places his heavy bags right on the ground. The blue-haired punk laughs, thinking the kid is actually smart enough to surrender without a fight. Kai responds with a devastating punch straight to his jaw, knocking him cold. He sighs. Why are these low-lives always so predictable? He warns them not to waste his time and attack all at once, since someone is waiting for him. A red-haired fighter charges in swinging a blade, but Kai ducks effortlessly. He delivers a brutal counterpunch that sends the thug crashing headfirst into a brick wall, shattering it completely. The yellow-haired thug charges in with his fists ready. But right before the blow lands, Kai catches his fist, twists his arm, and sweeps his legs, slamming him helplessly onto the dirt. One final punch knocks him out cold, leaving Kai to dust himself off and catch his breath. That is the price you pay for getting greedy. Now there is only one last opponent left to deal with. Suddenly, as he glares at the red-haired leader, a lethal bullet comes flying straight toward his skull. He has a split second to dodge before the projectile blasts a massive hole right where his head just was. He realizes only one weapon could cause that kind of destruction, a long-range spoit. The red-haired leader is absolutely stunned that the kid managed to dodge that. What a shame, as that shot should have put him in the grave. He has been annoying the boss from the very start. The leader once dreamed of joining an S-rank corps, knowing it is not a place for average people. Yet this black-colored freak just strolled in effortlessly because some top-tier colorist begged him to. He absolutely hates it. What is so special about that disgusting black ink? Why is everyone obsessed with him? Well, the boss has officially changed his mind. At first, he only planned to snap a few of his bones. But seeing his crew slaughtered like this, he is going to kill him. After all, nobody cares about a body left outside city limits. He unleashes a deadly barrage of bullets. Kai slips past the shots, closing the distance to throw a heavy punch, but the leader dodges and they begin trading brutal blows. Furious, the leader screams at him to stop clinging like a fly and unleashes a massive close-range blast. Trust me, you and I do not want to miss what comes next. Alright, let's jump into a battle where colors become weapons. He conjures ruby and hematite. Even with a basic skill, his custom spoit lets him mass-produce tons of deadly ammo. Avoid color bleaching, and his ammo is endless. Next to trash like our main character, he claims he is on a whole different level. Kai quickly ducks behind cover, blocking the relentless barrage of shots. This guy is annoying. Judging by his stance, he is at least a B-rank pioneer. Terrible attitude, but his skills are actually decent. Kai wants to absorb the bullets, but even after cloaking himself in black ink, it fails to block everything. One wrong move and he will take a fatal hit just like before. Suddenly, the big yellow-haired colorist he beat earlier charges in for a desperate grab. Kai dodges, but the goon still snatches his legs, screaming for his boss to fire while he has him pinned down. The boss praises his lackey and immediately fires, blasting a round straight through Kai's head. Yet our hero does not drop. Now pay attention here, because he actually absorbs the hit. That was a high-stakes gamble that almost ended him. The leader is baffled since he literally saw the bullet pierce Kai's skull. Kai calmly tells him it is over, but the boss frantically keeps firing. But Kai just absorbs every single shot, casually daring the villain to keep firing. Where is all that trash talk now? That smug attitude is gone. If he is out of ammo, then it is Kai's turn, right? The villain is losing his mind. There is no way anyone walks away from a headshot like that. It makes zero sense. He convinces himself Kai is just acting tough, refusing to fall for such a cheap psychological trick. Even if he survived, his organs must be shredded. The boss still holds his weapon, so he believes he still has the upper hand. He is sure he will win. Meanwhile, Kai realizes those bullets are no longer a threat. However, this absorption defense drains way more color than it actually takes in. It works, but the risk is absolutely massive. If he keeps spamming it, he will run completely dry. He has to take out that annoying weapon right now. He needs a distraction to close the gap. Maybe he should try copying the guy. Would the boss mind if he borrows his trick? Kai targets that prized crystallization skill. He summons a glowing energy crest that instantly shapes into a deadly spear, leaving the boss speechless. Kai, however, is just relieved that it actually works. Up until now, he only fought with bare fists. This crystallization skill finally covers his main weakness of lacking ranged options. Let's pause here because learning a skill mid-fight just by absorbing it? Absolute genius. The boss just handed him a free upgrade. He hurls the weapon, which the leader barely dodges before scrambling to fire another shot, but Kai shrugs off the impact. He tells him resisting is pointless now. The boss is officially his new sparring partner. Charging forward, Kai unleashes the exact same area of effect strike the leader used earlier. The leader is stunned by this flawless replication. Pushing further, Kai shapes his black ink into a sharp blade, cleanly slicing through the boss's custom weapon and leaving it ruined on the floor. The boss is completely dumbfounded. His precious tool shattered from one single slash. How is that possible without a catalyst of his own? Does that black ink possess hidden properties? This goes against all logic. Kai is nothing short of a total monster. Kai dials back his aura, noticing his energy is running low. The technique drains massive energy, but the incredible destructive power makes it completely worth it. He looks at his opponent and calmly asks, "What now?" He has no weapons remaining, so if he wants, he can try fighting barehanded. Not that it will change the outcome. Furious, the leader tells him to stop acting so arrogant. He did not earn his B-rank pioneer status just by shooting a gun. His color forms actual ruby and hematite. He never truly needed a catalyst to begin with. Even if it pushes his body to the absolute limit, he will tear Kai apart. He hurls a storm of colored shards directly at him, who easily deflects the projectiles and forms a solid shield from his ink, using it to plow straight through the barrage until he closes the distance and delivers a heavy blow to his ribs. sending him reeling before slamming him violently into the dirt, causing him to cough up blood. Kai asks if his little tantrum is finally over. He has a busy schedule and this fool is just wasting his valuable time. The boss cannot comprehend it. How can a rookie who just awakened have this level of monstrous power? Something is seriously wrong here. Kai tells him to shut up, but the boss just calls him a monster. And you know what? He might be right. That kind of power is definitely not normal. Stick with me. We're about to see how cruel this world is. How can he act normal while carrying that cursed ink? The guy was never human from the start. He's just a terrifying monster hiding in human skin. He was never one of us. This insults Kai deeply, sending him into a cold rage. His eyes turn pitch black, revealing an endless hollow abyss that forces the terrified leader to back away. Yet Kai just laughs, mockingly asking why he's crying now. He was so arrogant when he first attacked, and now he just wants to talk it out? Still, he understands the guy's greed. Since he's so obsessed with this power, it's only fair that Kai shows him exactly what it can do. Since they tried to steal his gear, they owe him some proper compensation, right? Without another word, Kai begins to siphon their color, absorbing it completely. Leaving his victims totally drained, Kai sits on them, contemplating his next move. At first, he planned on simply walking away and leaving them to their fate. But abandoning them in this state would definitely trigger massive consequences later. Now pay attention here. Right now, people only find him fascinating. But if he steals color and leaves them to rot, they'll fear him. This is a very thin line. If these thugs end up dying after being drained, the entire city will definitely brand him as a color-stealing monster. He can't let that happen, not after working this hard. Leaving them here like this isn't an option. So he locates their personal ink supply and forces it back into them, slowly restoring a bit of their lost color. Over at the east gate of Shining City, a guard spots the thugs lying around in a completely bleached state. He wonders if they drained all their color out in the dangerous Black Lands, immediately ordering another guard to call for the haul. Meanwhile, Kai slips back into the city unnoticed, incredibly relieved that his cover held. Seeing their color return proves his quick thinking worked. Pouring back the ink was the right call, and this should keep him safe from suspicion. If trouble still finds him, he hopes Red will bail him out. He returns to Mary's workshop, and she's thrilled to see him safe after his long journey. Kai apologizes, explaining he was busy with a guild request. Noticing his bright smile, she asks if something great happened. Kai just grins, knowing she's going to lose her mind when she sees this. He unzips his bag, revealing a brilliant stash of rare, vibrant ores left over from his mission. Knowing she would love them, he brought the stones straight to her. Mary immediately squeals, jumping up to hug him while shouting that he is the absolute best, promising to make amazing use of them. But then, you and I both know that feeling. He spots a mysterious warm light glowing around her, just like the aura he briefly saw in Gale. The aura surrounding Mary feels incredibly warm. This is the true color shining from within her soul. It fits her perfectly, as she always brings joy to others. Despite growing up together in the city's dark underbelly, she always finds a reason to smile when things seem hopeless. And whenever someone is lost in the darkness, she always knows exactly how to bring them comfort. The glowing light suits her perfectly. Mary then mentions she can't just keep taking gifts from him. She invites him inside, explaining she wanted to surprise him later, but she simply can't wait to show him now. She warns him not to freak out, revealing she has been crafting a custom spoit just for him. Kai is completely shocked and Mary looks incredibly proud. She's been working hard behind the scenes, and this new gear will allow her to upgrade his specs effortlessly. Suddenly, a voice interrupts them, saying she heard he made it back from the Black Lands and knew he'd be right here. Ellie and Gale walk in. Kai jokingly asks what brings them by, wondering if they're looking for another rematch. Ellie laughs it off. Even though Gale has been training like a madman to surpass him, they've actually been summoned by the core. Lord Luminous personally recognized their heroic efforts and wants them at headquarters to receive their official rewards. Hearing the news, Mary eagerly pushes Kai out, telling him he needs to go. He can check out the spoit later. For now, he just needs to stay safe, and she'll have it fully ready when he returns. Soon, Kai heads to the Dawn Pioneer Corps headquarters, where Lavian patiently escorts them deep inside the building. Kai is totally awestruck. He never imagined he'd step foot inside, and the grand interior is absolutely breathtaking. The towering walls showcase historical records of the Corps' legendary achievements, though sightseeing will have to wait. Now it's time for business. Entering the commander's office, Chimalea greets them with a warm smile and introduces herself. Kai is stunned. Dawn's commander is famous as one of the extremely rare multicolor holders in the entire city. He never expected to stand face to face with a living legend he only read about in newspapers. And that's where we leave it today. Trust me, you won't want to miss the massive rewards waiting in the next episode. Alright, you and I are jumping into a world where even the city's elites are terrified of a few rookies, especially Kai. He's the first black ink wielder in ages, and she's proud to say she invited them personally. Taking a sip of coffee, she instantly scowls, complaining that Levian should have added sugar beforehand. He just sighs and tells her to maintain some dignity. Clearing her throat, Camellia decides that since the introductions are done, it's finally time to get down to business. She presents 3 rewards for their successful mission. To start, they will each receive one. These are personal safes issued to pioneers. Their pay and rewards are recorded here for them to check anytime. The core itself backs this credit, meaning they can withdraw cash from any bank in the city. Gale and Kai are stunned, with Kai realizing he could probably buy a whole house with this. Camellia then hands over their C-rank Pioneer identity cards, an incredible achievement for rookies. Since they've proven their combat skills and results, they skip probation entirely, gaining access to exclusive halls and city benefits. And finally, the prestigious Color Workshop will craft custom spoits tailored just for them. Gale is floored, and Ellie points out that even high nobles can't get appointments there. Camellia just laughs. Dawn Core is a VIP, and besides, their current weapons are trashed. This workshop supplies top-tier gear for colorists. Now watch closely, because getting custom gear from the city's absolute finest workshop is a massive deal. They'll find it easily in the Luminina district, as the workshop stands out immediately. Though it's getting late, she officially welcomes them to the core, promising absolute, unlimited support for their future journeys. They desperately need powerful warriors to combat the Black Land, and as they probably guessed, the mysterious fragment retrieved yesterday is vital to this entire city's survival. So she expects truly legendary achievements from them as the city's newest powerhouses. Walking back to Mary's workshop, Kai smiles and tells Nero that today feels like an amazing day. He never expected to hit C rank so quickly, proving that becoming a pioneer was the absolute right call. He can't wait to see Mary's happy reaction to the news, but as he gets closer, he notices the door is wide open. Stepping inside, his jaw drops as he sees the entire workshop has been brutally trashed. His chest tightens as anger boils inside him. Meanwhile, at the eastern base, colorists are locked in intense combat as monsters swarm from the Black Land. Every squad rallies together, focusing all their heavy firepower on the largest beasts first. But they can't help but wonder how long this bizarre surge will last. This onslaught has dragged on, forcing them to hold the line no matter how many monsters spawn. Up above, Viper watches the chaos, thoroughly enjoying their desperate struggle. If they couldn't even survive this, she'd be disappointed, but this horde is still far too weak. The legendary waves caused by the Black Witch were far deadlier than these weaklings. Sending endless trash monsters is just a waste of time. If they want to crush this wretched city for good, they need a truly devastating weapon. She'll have to slip back inside once more. Nearby, a nonchalant sword demon mocks her, asking what foolishness she's planning. Entering the city is basically suicide, but Viper sneers, telling him he has absolutely no clue. His memories are completely gone, making him incredibly clueless. Still, she doesn't mind giving him a little hint. Deep beneath Shining City, secret paths tunnel straight into the Black Land. They are narrow but completely functional. And trust me, they just discovered something massive down there, the Undercity. Kai frantically searches the entire workshop, rushing to the back room, but Mary is absolutely nowhere to be found. She has clearly been abducted, but who in this city would dare pull a stunt like this? If he loses someone precious to him again, he honestly fears that overwhelming despair will completely consume his soul. Nero lets out a soft meow, emerging from Kai's shadow and jumping onto a table where her custom spoit lies waiting. Since Nero is guiding him here, it must be important. Activating his inverted sight, he spots a glowing trail leading out. Tracking this mysterious aura is his absolute highest priority right now. Terrified for Mary's safety, he forces himself to breathe, knowing he must suppress his emotions to think straight. There is no doubt about it. The culprit is that mysterious shadow group hunting him. Using her as bait to lure him out, they've officially crossed the wrong beast. Let's see how this ends. Let's dive in as he mutters a promise for Mary to wait just a little longer, but despite his soft and encouraging words, his cold eyes burn with absolute pure malice. Sliding the gauntlet on, it fits perfectly, letting him control his ink with maximum efficiency. From here on, even if the fights drag on forever, he is ready for battle. With Nero clinging to his shoulder, he moves out, slipping through dark alleyways filled with desperate beggars and low-life street gangsters, until he finally tracks the trail down to an entrance buried deep in the underground. Seeing another gate this close explains why so many vagrants suddenly flooded the area back then. Suddenly a shadow approaches, muttering that their long wait has finally paid off. It is that same annoying punk from before, hoping Kai did not forget his face after dumping him into that ink pile. They are definitely not friends, but they still have unsettled scores. Kai demands to know where Mary is, but the green-haired punk refuses to talk. He mockingly laughs, asking if Kai expected an answer that easily. He forgot whatever cheap trick Kai pulled last time, but he vividly remembers getting beaten into a complete wreck. Does Kai have any idea what he went through after that? He had to work his fingers to the bone at the bottom of the gang just to reclaim his color. He barely survived by cleaning dirt, purely fueled by the sweet promise of revenge. Besides, Lord Blank only ordered them to bring Kai back. Nobody said he had to be alive, so this is absolutely perfect for him. Now watch closely here. Kai immediately shapes a wicked serrated blade, refusing to waste a single second. Rotten garbage like them does not deserve a shred of mercy. He tears through them as they rush forward, slicing them down effortlessly. The green-haired thug strikes using Juan's weapon, but Kai effortlessly shatters the assault, slamming his opponent flat onto the hard floor. Compared to their last fight, the tables have completely turned, haven't they? He genuinely dislikes inflicting pain on others, but scum who snatch innocent children are a different story. He has zero reason to hold back. Some of these thugs might end up permanently crippled and never walk again. But they absolutely brought this brutal punishment on themselves. Honestly, they should be grateful he even spared their pathetic lives. And they dare call themselves pioneers while doing trashy deeds like this? It is absolutely sickening. Lowlifes like him do not deserve the blessing of the holy light. He drains the man of his color and drags him along, needing a guide to show him the way down. He leaps down directly into the dark Undercity, a place he swore he would never return to. As they navigate the dark paths, Kai shoves the drained, colorless guy forward, warning him to keep moving and avoid doing anything incredibly stupid. The hostage sneers, asking if Kai really thinks he can mess with Zed and survive. He is totally helpless alone, right? He just sealed his own fate. Kai chokes him mid-sentence, pointing out that he loves talking trash but fails to see his situation. He better shut his mouth and walk quietly before Kai decides to end his life and leave his corpse right here. And pay attention here. If there is even a single scratch on Mary, he will face a living nightmare. As they trek deeper, Kai realizes that absolutely nothing has changed down here. The underground city is like a shadow under a bright lamp. It is a dark zone where Luminous's light can never shine. Naturally, it became a lawless breeding ground for brutal street gangs. Colorless outcasts scrape by in the dark underground mines, the absolute last resort for those with nowhere left to turn. This is exactly where he first met Mary. The captive sneers inwardly at the kid's arrogance, but it does not matter. Kai can act tough all he wants, but his task remains the same. He is walking straight into a deadly trap. This abyss will become his final grave. Sure enough, the guide suddenly halts as a massive crowd surrounds them, with one joking they have been waiting so long they nearly grew roots in the dirt. The gang stares in utter shock when they notice Kai carries black ink. To them, he is like a rare treasure. The boss steps forward welcoming him, while the guide drops to his knees, proud to deliver his target. But the boss notices the guide is completely colorless again. And he already warned him, didn't he? A colorless person is entirely useless. The man begs for forgiveness, pleading it was out of his hands, but the boss coldly replies that he failed. His usefulness ends today. With a swift strike, he slices his head off, refusing to waste time on garbage, yet Kai does not even flinch. Clearly, this is not the first execution Kai has witnessed. He coldly observes that the boss has not changed one bit, remaining as ruthless as ever. And that's where we leave it. Kai flatly demands to know where Mary is, leaving the boss shocked that he still cannot read the room. Alright, you and I need to watch who really holds the power here. If he just played nice, this would be over. But his stubbornness is making it impossible to find his precious Mary, or whatever her name is. Sure, these thugs are totally useless. But they still have a purpose. After all, who knows what is happening to her right now? Kai's face turns dark. Fine, he will just have to flatten this entire place to the ground. He summons the black ink into his hand, shaping it into a devastating fist. Leaping high, he slams down hard, shaking the earth. Nearby, a henchman warns another boss they have a massive problem. The black ink user they wanted is going wild, and the boss needs to step in. The big boss orders his men to stop slacking and go buy time until he arrives. But they are clearly losing as Kai sends bodies flying, leaving them completely knocked out. What kind of monster is this guy? Suddenly, the branch leader shows up, demanding to know what is going on. The lackey is relieved to see his leader, but it is embarrassing that they can't even capture a single target. The reputation of Zed, rulers of the Undercity, is getting dragged through the dirt. They are useless, but pay attention here. Kai can instantly tell this newcomer is on a whole different level. He should know their leader was a top-tier rank pioneer. Skill won't save him now. Does he really think he can beat a seasoned veteran? He should have listened earlier. The leader lunges, aiming a brutal fist, but Kai dodges and throws a flurry of strikes that seem useless. Still, the leader is impressed. Not bad, but now he wants to see Kai survive a real punch. He throws a devastating punch, blasting Kai straight through a building. Yet Kai looks completely unharmed. He swings again, but Kai weaves inside and counters with a massive inkwave blast, making the branch leader feel like his very life force is draining away. Suddenly, he surges with intense energy, forcing Kai to retreat. He absolutely loathes that cheap trick, calling that disgusting ink and those bizarre techniques a perfect pair. He doesn't know what else Kai is hiding, but it is time to get serious. Controlling this power is harder than expected. Well, it has been years since he last unleashed it. Kai just stares back with pure, unhidden contempt. This is not enough. Kai's usual fighting style is not going to work anymore. He needs to be faster, sharper, and summon weapons that won't shatter against that heavy armor. Now check this out. Kai floods the area with black ink and a murderous aura so cold the leader freezes in absolute terror. So is this the true power of the black ink? Kai activates his ultimate technique, the Arsenal of Malice, unleashing a relentless assault on the furious leader. Just what kind of insane power is this? Kai controls every weapon in his custom domain, pushing the branch leader back. First with a deadly spear, then swinging a massive axe with relentless fury. Tossing the axe, he summons twin daggers, carving up the branch leader with blinding speed. The leader is in shock. This kid shredded his armored skin like it was thin paper. The ink weapons shatter easily, but every single strike is unbelievably sharp. But as a high executive of Zed, he refuses to lose to a punk, ignoring his orders entirely. Maxing out his colorist powers, he hardens his fist into solid stone and charges with a lethal strike. The blow is blindingly fast, leaving Kai zero time to dodge as it demolishes multiple buildings. The vice leader gasps, looking down at Kai, who blocked the strike and remains completely unharmed. Wait, he didn't just block it. He is actually absorbing the attack, and the leader finally realizes. Weapon creation isn't his only trick. How many abilities does this guy have? Still, if he can use his color one more time, he might survive. But suddenly his vision goes dark. The black ink has clung to his face, seeping directly into his eye, giving Kai the perfect opening to land a devastating uppercut, sending the leader crashing down. He feels his strength vanish, knowing a simple punch shouldn't have broken him. Kai just shrugs. What if it was? Why show mercy mid-fight? Trust me, you and I know his time is up. Trust me, you and I are about to watch this demon drain the vice leader dry while the hooligan boss shakes in absolute shock. This guy is a straight-up monster. Once Kai finishes him off, he slowly turns his gaze toward the terrified hooligan boss. Meanwhile, in an unfamiliar place, Mary finally opens her eyes in a barren room. A creepy voice welcomes her back. He was starting to wonder when she would wake up, noting how incredibly fascinating she and that other guy are. Who could have predicted that a colorless person would attract enough eyes to suddenly unlock a power tier like that? Apparently it is a legendary level rarity, but what is up with that kid anyway? It is like he overnight gained massive confidence. The weakling he once knew barely had any humanity left in him. Hearing that familiar voice, Mary instantly realizes who she is dealing with. It is none other than Blank, and he is thrilled that she still remembers him. It has been a long time, hasn't it? Mary stands there in complete shock. Didn't he die years ago? Blank just chuckles, admitting he was right there when their whole world collapsed. He fully expected to be crushed to death, but luck was on his side. And who would have guessed they would cross paths again under these exact circumstances? Life really is full of wild surprises. Seeing her brings back so many memories of everything he did. Every single one of them was special, serving as his very first test subjects. Though he barely escaped death back then, he has climbed incredibly high since. Even the big boss acknowledges his work now, making him one of Zed's top executives. But hey, she shouldn't just stand there staring like that. Now pay attention here, because we're about to see just how far his research has progressed. He throws open the door to reveal a massive laboratory, where helpless, colorless people are herded like cattle alongside caged ink beasts. Mary freezes in horror, unable to believe such a nightmarish facility still exists. Suddenly, an assistant approaches, announcing that a fresh batch of extract has arrived. Blank smiles, loving the perfect timing, and demands to see what they harvested this time. Horrified, Mary demands to know why he is repeating his past sins, but Blank simply shrugs. To him, leaving such power untouched is the ultimate sin. With a mock bow, he welcomes her to his brand new extraction facility. Pure chaos erupts across the Undercity. Terrified citizens flee the collateral damage, assuming it's just another gang war. But in reality, Kai is simply sweeping the trash. Let's pause here. Kai reaches a massive clearing and forces the shaking thug to confirm this is where they locked Mary up. The girl he wants is inside, so the thug pathetically begs if he can leave now. Kai responds by slamming him into a wall, leaving him bleeding out before summoning Nero to track Mary's location. The beast barks in agreement, leaping ahead just as a wave of armed hooligans swarm the area, rushing them. But Kai has absolutely zero time for these weaklings. Every second wasted means Mary is in even greater danger. Luckily, he has a devastating move ready, copying the Vice leader's signature technique to wipe them all out in one shot. With an explosion of power, he tears through the crowd and shatters the walls, completely unstoppable. Mary screams at Blank, calling him a lunatic and demanding to know why he keeps committing these atrocities. Blank acts confused by her anger, telling her to relax since he only feels deep gratitude toward all of them. After all, their sacrifices as his early test subjects allowed his research to truly succeed. He points across the room, noting that watching a live extraction is far better than any explanation he could offer. Right on cue, two guards drag a screaming, colorless victim toward a metal capsule as he begs for his life. He desperately claws at the frame, but they slam him inside and seal the heavy door shut. The sinister machine hums with terrifying power, draining a dark blood-red color from his body. Mary looks on in horror, realizing nothing has changed. It is the exact same gruesome nightmare as before. Blank proudly explains that this shade is the most beautiful yet, admitting his early experiments were far too crude to yield such pure results. Back then, he failed to harvest any color, completely wasting all the precious samples he took from her. He reminds her of his old theory about late-blooming colors, because that is where the true untapped potential lies. Extracting that potential was a massive success, and it works on both helpless humans and wild beasts alike. It is mind-blowing how things he once considered completely useless can be refined into such a breathtaking power. To him, this color is their very soul, and he can extract and control it at will. We leave it here as a madman unearths a terrifying world that should have stayed buried. Alright, you and I are about to see what happens when years of twisted research finally reach absolute perfection. A mixed creation, and he is still testing its limits. He recently discovered that creatures naturally terrified of color can actually be controlled to a certain degree, but not completely. Mary thinks these people are totally insane. How can they stay so calm about this horror? They literally just shoved a living human directly into an extractor. Did they seriously think the city would let them get away with this? Blanc expected her outrage, but honestly, he never saw what was wrong with any of it. He guesses his vision is simply too advanced for them to understand. Mary immediately snaps, calling him a flat-out murderer. What soul and identity is he even talking about? If he loves extracting color so much, he should just drain it from himself. She is absolutely sure his own color is stained with this filthy, disgusting shade of sick pleasure. Blanc seems annoyed, but calmly tells her he already checked. He already regularly extracts color from his own body. There was no way he would invent this and not try it himself. It is the ultimate proof of his life's work. Pay attention here because the moment it succeeded, he infused a piece of his own soul into it. He kept this secret stash hidden away until today. After all, you never know when it might be useful. Mary tells him to shut up, but Blanc just smiles and apologizes for getting a bit carried away there. But he has one more detail to share. He heard Kai just arrived in the Undercity. Kidnapping her was the perfect bait to lure him down here. After all, Kai always followed her like a shadow. Just like the old days, all he had to do was snatch her, and Kai would run straight into his trap. Right now, his thugs are closing in to capture him. Even with that dark power, fighting a whole army alone is suicide. He orders his goons to drag her away. They will reunite once Kai finally gets here. In the meantime, he has to prepare a very special bloody welcome banquet for his arriving guest. Suddenly, the entire facility violently trembles as the ceiling completely caves in from a massive impact. Mary instantly recognizes her savior. It is Kai. Meanwhile, the counselor and Himalaya receive an urgent briefing about the situation. Kai has invaded the Undercity, and right now he is clashing with the Zed. I know what you are thinking, and yes, he is systematically raiding their bases just to rescue Mary. The counselor demands answers, asking Shamalia what kind of madness this is. She promised they could trust her. She explains that they responded to the situation quickly, even dispatching special observers to keep close tabs on him. It is not like she was sitting idle. Besides, everyone knows how dangerous this abnormal phenomenon has become. Almost all their military forces are focused on the borders. Getting support from other pioneer units is currently impossible. They are literally fighting for basic resources just to defend this city. The counselor asks where Red is. Camellia explains that the Collector and the Jester just attacked another fortress, so Red had to go intercept them. The counselor suspects those Black Hands bastards are behind this entire mess. But before anything else, they must deploy a peacekeeping force to secure Kai's safety. However, a senior colorist warns him not to act too quickly. Rushing troops in is highly risky. They might provoke countless street gangs for no reason, making this whole situation spiral completely out of control. They may have to wipe out those traitors eventually, but their power is nothing to laugh at. Many of them are veteran pioneers. If this spark ignites a full-scale war, the entire city will descend into chaos. Besides, he still does not trust that Black Ink boy, and only watched quietly because he was outvoted by the council. But the fact that the kid is already causing a massive disaster proves his doubts were completely right. Just imagining the kind of horror his bizarre color could bring upon this city is truly terrifying. Perhaps they should seize this chance to eliminate that dangerous threat. He expects everyone knows exactly what he means. Hudson understands his concerns, but he still intends for the peacekeepers to execute their original plan. Kai is the only person who can uncover the ultimate secrets. He is simply too vital. They have to protect him at all costs. Luminous sees incredible potential in him, betting everything on the future he will create. So let us watch him personally take charge of this entire mess. Alright, you and I are starting with a heavy moment where this old man completely loses respect for him. Rising to counselor with a basic color was impressive, but this cold logic is unreal. Hudson can only offer his apologies. He vows to meet those high standards next time, but Shamalea insists that he is worrying far too much. To help him out, she eased the burden slightly. She deployed Red's battle-tested squad alongside the peacekeeping force to calm his nerves. Knowing they proved their elite fighting skills during that historic first expedition, the counselor sighs deeply, ordering them to move out and settle everything with absolute precision. They must protect the city from suffering and ensure the entire mess is completely swept away. Blanc stares in utter shock and confusion, wondering how Kai bypassed his guards to get here. Things are bad and Kai cannot even see Mary. Spotting only her silhouette, he realizes he must wipe these enemies out instantly, before they have any chance to regroup. Unleashing his deadly arsenal, he hurls throwing knives everywhere, trapping his foes and shattering the massive vials scattered across the lab. Without hesitating, he charges forward and instantly takes down the two guards attempting to drag Mary away. He softly apologizes for arriving so late, gently asking if she had been waiting for a long time. Nero leaps straight into her arms as Mary tells him not to worry, saying she is the one who should be thanking him. Now here is where we need to watch closely as the colorless escape, while Blanc sighs at the waste. He had so many experiments left to run, but new test subjects are easy to find. Seeing Kai again is far more thrilling. It has been ages. He was so ecstatic to learn that Kai not only awakened a color, but actually managed to survive with it. Kai is a truly unique specimen, and meeting him in person like this only fuels Blanc's twisted curiosity even further. He cannot wait to see just how brightly Kai will shine. Glancing over, Kai asks Mary who this familiar-looking guy is, and she reveals it is Blanc, the monster who used to drain them dry. Realizing Blanc survived the collapse, Kai glares while Blanc playfully pouts about them being rude right in front of him. But enough talking. Since they both seek answers, they should begin the experiment researcher to researcher. Shattering two colorful vials on the floor, he leaves Kai wondering what those liquids actually are. Mary warns him to get back since those fluids attract monsters, and Blanc happily agrees, admitting he hates getting his own hands dirty. These beasts might not kill him, but they will certainly wear him down. Smiling, Blanc opens the gates to unleash them. But Kai instantly leaps into action, tearing through the massive horde of monsters like they are nothing. Grabbing a discarded ink dagger, Blanc mutters that one should never throw away such incredibly valuable research subjects. You and I know how color normally fades when used, but in this psychopath's hands, it works completely differently. Using extraction, he claims the black ink as his own, eager to discover how this deep darkness differs from ordinary colors. This small amount is more than enough to test, and he is deeply curious to see Kai's power in action. Watching Kai struggle in battle, Mary realizes this is bad. Usually he would obliterate these beasts instantly, but he exhausted way too much of his color power just reaching this place. Fighting like this will kill him, but absorbing pigments from the monsters would easily restore his fading energy. She must find a way to help, suddenly noticing the mixed ink pooling on the floor from those shattered vials. Nearby, she spots something else that looks like a power generator. Tinkering with the device, she plugs it in to restore electricity, warning Kai to stay off the floor as she drops the live wires. Electrocutes the entire monster army, proving she is far from useless in a real fight. Blanc sighs in disappointment as his beloved creations are instantly wiped out. Kai immediately slams his hand down, absorbing the fallen beast's energy to completely refill his power reserves, shocking Blanc. So this is the legendary power of Black. Witnessing it in person is even more terrifying than he imagined. These monsters are nothing but food. This mindless, insatiable hunger that devours everything is the absolute perfection he has been searching for. He wants that arm, or maybe just a finger, even a tiny fragment will do. He desperately wants Kai to share, longing to study this pure darkness to the absolute fullest. Charging forward, Kai asks if he is done talking, but Blanc blocks the strike with his robotic arm. But obstacles are just a natural part of any scientific research, right? Direct combat is not his style, but trust me, you and I are about to see how he came prepared. Let's jump back in as he slots 2 more vials into his gauntlet to unleash their colors. Blanc knows that the two of them actually share a lot in common. The way he desperately craves other people's colors is identical to his own twisted desires. He should just admit it. Unleashing a green energy strike, he forces Kai to parry as their brutal clash starts shaking the entire area. Even mid-fight, Blanc urges Kai to listen to him. Why not join forces and work together as partners? He is absolutely sure that Kai would learn to appreciate his terrifying research eventually. Doesn't he want to experience the absolute pure beauty of true color? Combining absorption and extraction powers would let them reach that ultimate, godlike strength he has always wanted. Unlike anyone else, he can grasp colors in their absolute rawest form. Charging forward, he demands his power and strikes Kai, but Kai stands firm and effortlessly absorbs the impact. Using that momentum, Kai counters with a brutal punch that sends Blanc crashing into a wall, coughing up blood in shock. He admits Kai is amazing. Effortlessly absorbing color mid-battle is something he never thought possible. Now pay attention here, because he is about to bring out something absolutely terrifying to close the gap. He injects a mysterious black vial from his dagger straight into his arm, leaving Kai wondering what comes next. Is he suicidal? Blanc laughs it off. This is all just a way to gather more precious research data. Besides, this power was made for him anyway. Even if he might die from using it, who cares? Pitch black ink starts spreading quickly through his veins, but somehow his body manages to contain this overwhelming pressure. Even a small fragment holds this much raw power. His entire fist and right eye mutate into black ink, and he finds the transformation absolutely magnificent. Kai needs to watch out as Blanc goes completely berserk, clashing fists while laughing at how unbelievable this feels. The second he tried it, everything became crystal clear. So this is Kai's color. He asks him to reconsider, claiming their fated encounter means they should work together. Kai tells him to shut up because they are nothing alike, but Blanc just laughs at his denial. Or maybe he's refusing because of Mary? The truth is, he never actually had his own identity. I know what you are thinking, but Blanc is totally seeing right through his fake identity here. That inner void is his true self, and Blanca claims he is not even criticizing him for it. He actually finds it beautiful. Seeing all those colors, Kai has only ever envied them, craving to steal them for himself, right? Isn't that exactly how he got his current appearance? Ultimately, he is just acting for his own selfish goals. At least that is how Blanc sees it. He cannot comprehend why Kai desperately pretends to be human, but he will humor him since they are the only ones who understand each other. These venomous words actually start to crack the calm facade Kai has been holding on to. But Mary chucks a massive wrench straight at his head, shouting at him to shut up and stop acting like he knows everything. He only caught a brief glimpse of him as a child. Why does he think they are alike? Is he insane? How dare he compare an absolute monster who treats human lives like garbage to Kai? Kai is not mimicking anyone. He fights this hard because he genuinely wants to change his destiny. He went through hell to get here. He might be slightly different, but he's just as human as anyone else. Who does this psycho think he is? A piece of filth like him has no right to look down on him. Kai glances back at Mary, a tiny, almost invisible smile forming on his face. He unleashes a massive surge of energy, leaving Blanc shocked that his power can go this high. Kai thanks Mary and charges, delivering a devastating punch that shatters Blanking's fist as his body completely gives out. With his opponent broken, Kai delivers one final crushing blow that shatters the floor and ends the battle. Mary rushes over to ask if he is hurt, but he says he's fine. She realizes Blanc won't be getting back up. Kai agrees he's barely breathing, and now it's time to finish this bastard. And trust me, you and I both know leaving him alive means this nightmare will just repeat. Blanc spits out stolen color with a bloody grin, disappointed his unstable power wasn't enough to win. All right, you and I are jumping right back into the struggle of a lifetime as our hero desperately clings to hope. To finally claim his true power, he will risk absolutely everything. But suddenly, explosive blasts rip through the entire facility. Blanc calmly explains he has rigged the whole place to blow. With headquarters going completely silent and the chaos rapidly spreading, the shadow bosses decide to flip the switch and bury all the evidence. Since this is the end, he should try one last desperate move. But then the ground crumbles beneath them, sending both Mary and Kai plunging into a subterranean pit of black ink. It looks like toxic runoff from the extraction labs, meaning Mary is in serious life-threatening danger. She is barely hanging on, sinking rapidly because the colorless are extremely vulnerable to raw black ink. He absolutely has to move fast. Sucking up all this toxic fluid is his only option, but doing that would take way too much time. She will drown before he can finish unless he reaches her right now, if he is not already too late. Everyone knows falling into black ink is a literal death sentence. Why did he even receive this power anyway? Was it not all to find that beautiful radiance again? An inner voice asks if he is truly ready to let her go, and his answer is a roaring no. He dives straight into the abyss. Losing someone once was already more than enough. No matter the cost, he refuses to back down now. Grabbing Mary by the hand, he starts draining the ink from her body, begging her to survive so she can watch him finally fulfill his dream of becoming a master colorist. She was the one who insisted everyone has their own hidden light, including him, even if he could not see it yet. Those words perfectly match what Lumiel once told him back when they escaped the underground city, burning into his mind. Sure, they faced cruel hatred and endless suffering down there, but they also saw ordinary people brightening the world with their own beautiful, unique colors. Journeying by her side makes him realize that if he had remained completely isolated, he would have never learned any of this. He would have stayed lost in total emptiness, never knowing what true happiness felt like. But now he finally gets it. While Lumiel showed him the way, Mary gives him a reason to smile and fight, which is why she must open her eyes. As the black ink finally clears, he realizes their promise is in danger. She is not breathing. But why? He successfully drained away all the darkness. Then pay attention here. She suddenly begins to glow with that familiar brilliant radiance. If he can tap into her inner potential, maybe he can pull off a miracle. Holding her tight, he focuses on his power, believing that if he channels it right, he can save her. Suddenly, her warm, glowing energy washes over him completely. But this does not feel like his usual absorption skill. This warmth feels incredibly familiar. He is literally touching her pure joy, her happiness, and her inner light. This is the radiant soul Mary has always hidden inside. And of course, it shines this brilliantly and beautifully. By reversing his absorption technique, he successfully revives Mary, who instantly sits up coughing and gasping. Confused, she wonders how she is alive after falling directly into that deadly pool of pure black ink. But then she notices she actually has vibrant color now and panics, forcing Kai to calm her down and check her vitals. He asks if she is hurt, admitting this is wildly confusing, but insists they need to escape this place immediately. Even if the cave-ins block their path back up, there must be another escape route around here. But right then, they hear familiar meows from Nero just as the ceiling above them blasts wide open. You and I both know rescue came just in time, as Gale and Ellie appear alongside the cat completely unharmed. Kai could not even recall when his own memories started, as his early life always felt lost in a dense, blurry fog. Even the lines separating him from the world felt completely faded. He simply drifted through life, swept along by a massive, endless tide. Whenever his mind temporarily cleared, he would find himself waking up in strange places, but he never really minded it. No matter where he wandered, he always had his loyal companion Nero by his side, the only family he possessed when he had nothing else. Then, out of nowhere in his dark world, an incredibly bright figure suddenly made an appearance. The mysterious traveler introduced himself as Lumiel, And in that instant, Kai finally understood. This was the dazzling light he had been searching for his whole life, leaving an unforgettable mark deep within his soul. But unfortunately, their precious time with Lumiel was cut short far too soon. And that is where we leave it, as he set off alone once more, still searching for that legendary guiding light. Alright, you and I are starting with a boy chasing a light he might never reach again. Wandering aimlessly through the pitch-black alleys of the Undercity, he met a girl named Mary. She wondered why he stayed so quiet. Was he mute or maybe deaf? Honestly, kids like him were everywhere down here, but it was pouring rain at the time. She quickly warned him to stay out of the downpour, pointing out a burst pipe leaking toxic ink residue right onto them. It was dangerous. Then she noticed Nero, his pet, and wondered why he was walking around with a strange creature like that. But since it was small, she figured it was harmless. She quickly guided him to a hidden corner before any patrol guards spotted them. But the guards caught up, furious that she had snuck out. They sneered, asking if she needed another brutal beating to finally learn her lesson. They eyed the strange boy next to her, wondering if he was a new lab rat. It was perfect timing since they needed fresh test subjects. With a smirk, they dragged them both to Blank, who was furious that precious lab samples were wandering around. What a pathetic excuse for security! As the guards apologized, Blank stared at Mary, smiling coldly at her return. The girl just did not know when to quit. Even for valuable test subjects, his patience had its absolute limits. If they kept resisting, they would only suffer more. So why even bother trying? Now pay attention here. This place looked like a normal orphanage on the surface, but it was actually a brutal prison camp stealing helpless kids. These fake charity facilities exploited local poverty relief programs, hiding their twisted crimes in the shadows of the Undercity. Orphans were everywhere, and treating them like cheap slave labor was just business as usual underground. But forced labor was just a cover. Their true goal was dark experimentation. Guards watched every corner, and the only exit was in a body bag. Yet, long before he even arrived, Mary had already been planning a massive escape with the other kids. And despite failing so many times, she refused to quit. Her raw determination kept the children hoping, making her the ultimate leader, guiding everyone toward the light. In 3 days, the guard shifts would leave a gap, giving them their one chance. She thanked him for his help, promising they would escape together. He felt like that was the exact moment he truly started to connect with her. She shared the plan with the other kids, whispering to keep it absolutely secret. Tonight was their very last night in this hell. Once they escaped, she wanted to go to the Shining City, learn a trade, and build her own workshop. In that glorious city, even colorless outcasts could find work and earn citizenship. They would have to live near the outer walls, but that was infinitely better than this prison. She asked about his dreams, and Kai spoke a single quiet word: colorist. The person he met before was a colorist, so he wanted to try it too. It was his first real desire, but deep down he knew it was impossible. You can see why he lost hope, right? He is constantly told how useless and weak his kind is. He had simply followed a beautiful light and got trapped here, nothing more. Now that he was stuck in this cage, he had no idea what to do or where to go. While the other kids cheered about tomorrow's escape, he just could not understand their joy. He felt completely different from everyone else around him. Mary smiled, asking if he knew that colorless people could actually awaken their own colors later. Even Lumiel, the legendary luminous leader, was born colorless. Yet he shone brighter than anyone. She believed they all had inner light. Kai was no exception. He just had not discovered his true power yet. She promised to guide him step by step. Besides, being a colorist sounded amazing, and he had not even given it a shot. Giving up now would only lead to regret. Simply trying was a victory, and failure did not mean the end of the road. He just needed to follow his heart and hold his head high. Keeping his eyes on the dirt would never help him find his motivation. But as hope filled the air that night, cruel reality shattered their dreams. The guards easily caught the fleeing children and dragged them away for agonizing extractions. Their desperate thrashing was entirely useless against such overwhelming force. Seeing Mary fight back so fiercely, a guard brutally bashed her head with a heavy pipe to shut her up. Bleeding and weakened, she still looked straight at Kai and screamed for him to run. That is when Kai felt pure boiling rage, but a sudden blow to the head cuts it short. Stick around to see what happens next. Alright, you and I are diving straight into a dark mystery. Why order the disposal of these kids without Blanc's direct permission? The other guard didn't care. They just followed orders from high up. Rumor was this secret lab was almost exposed. While they complained about their terrible jobs, Kai slowly stood up, unleashing his true, terrifying nature. This very moment sparked the massive collapse back then. Kai was totally lost too, waking up to Mary and Nero staring down at him. When he asked what went down, she had no answers. She had just opened her eyes herself, guessing some massive explosion occurred. By the time she woke, the ruins were empty. No one else survived. Mary feels a deep sorrow since those children were completely innocent. But Kai senses movement. They need to run. If they linger here, they will end up locked in cages all over again. Mary dries her eyes, realizing they must escape to the surface immediately. Survival down here is impossible now. Together they make a solemn vow. Once they reach the light, they will find true happiness. She knows the lost little ones wanted that for them. As Mary and Kai climb out of the rubble, Gale sighs. Because of them, he is staring at the absolute slums of the Undercity, a cursed place he never expected to see in his lifetime. Now pay attention, because here is the real mystery. Wasn't she completely colorless just a moment ago? How does she suddenly possess color alongside that bastard Kai? Honestly, nothing can surprise him anymore. Ellie approaches Mary, realizing she has awakened just like Kai, wielding a remarkably vibrant color. Even within the three great houses, such intense saturation is rare. High nobles cannot compare. It is truly breathtaking. Kai, however, knows they have no time to chat. They are inside a gang hideout, and surviving enemies could easily ambush them at any moment. It is too dangerous, so they must escape first. The crew looks confused, and Gale wonders what is wrong with him. Even his eyes seem completely changed now. Before they can question him, Mary waves them off, suggesting they save the deep explanations for later. Ellie agrees. There is no need to rush since all the annoying trash has been cleared. Mary is amazed they defeated so many alone, while Gale scoffs. He had to move fast, burning through immense color to reach them. They both owe him some serious gratitude. Explosions blocked their path. Gang members swarmed them constantly. Worse yet, their weapons were just cheap, mass-produced scrap. Even so, they cannot drop their guard. An ambush could be waiting around any corner. As they march forward, Mary quietly trails behind. Suddenly, a guard who was faking unconsciousness snaps awake. No way is he letting them escape after what they did to him. You and I know a cornered rat is the most dangerous. Returning empty-handed means torture, so he decides to drag someone down with him. He charges blindly to murder Mary. The group reacts instantly, with Kai prepared to strike him down. But Mary unleashes a seemingly light punch, sending the thug crashing violently into a nearby wall. Even she is shocked by this incredible color power. She barely even swung her fist. Suddenly, heavy footsteps echo down the corridor. It is the peacekeepers. They shout their standard warning, ordering everyone to disarm and surrender without a fight, but quickly realize they are looking at the exact pioneers from their mission briefing. The officers are glad to see them safe and express their gratitude. Ellie calmly notes they only did what was necessary, while the lead peacekeeper mentions hearing they rushed here early. But they wrapped up the entire situation before backup could even arrive. Classic pioneers, leaving the official law enforcement with absolutely nothing to do. It is honestly embarrassing. Thanks to this, the Shade Group will remain paralyzed for a while. With most hostiles captured, they should leave the rest to the Guard. They will handle the entire cleanup. Mary agrees it is time to go. It feels like she has been trapped underground for an eternity. Yet a strange relief washes over her now that it is finished. The others, unable to suppress their curiosity, speak up. Ellie points out that he seemed totally different today. Did something happen down there? Kai stares blankly at his hand before touching his face. He realizes his cold behavior probably made them uneasy. Apologizing for causing such worry, he slips his mask back on. He claims he is perfectly fine. He was just lost in thought for a moment. It is nothing major, so they should not stress. Seeing this, Gale tells Ellie to drop it. It is likely a painful past memory he wants to keep buried until he is ready. No need to pry. And with that, you and I are heading back to the surface. Stick with me. We are following Blank as he crawls through the Undercity, barely surviving by pure luck. But his physical condition is absolutely terrible right now. He might actually die this time around. Honestly, this looks like the end of the line. He really wanted to see Kai's true self before the end, but he won't get that chance. Suddenly, footsteps echo. Someone is heading right towards him. It is Viper, and she greets him with a smirk. Didn't they have some kind of deal earlier? How exactly is she supposed to react to this mess? She sneaked into the Undercity with so much effort, only for her business partner to completely vanish. Now she finally tracks him down, but he already has one foot in the grave. He was supposed to deliver a vital item, so what is he going to do about that? He is still breathing for now, but dealing with this is a massive pain. Now check this out. She really hates using her deadly venom on humans, but she has no choice. Depending on how you use it, even poison can become medicine. A bit later, Viper returns and her sister immediately clings to her, whining about being left behind. She insists on coming along next time, but Viper reminds her she promised to stay put. How can she stay calm when things go wrong the second she looks away? The swordsman notes she is late and asks if she brought the goods. Viper nods. This is the special item that draws those dangerous creatures in. They call it the mixture, or something like that. Either way, she brought plenty back without any trouble. Since she helped, she expects a much bigger cut of the profits next time around. With their preparations finished, it is time to start. She leaps onto the massive ink beast, and the swordsman follows, questioning if this trick will actually work on such a massive creature. These beasts are walking disasters, driven solely by the Black Witch's command. He only tagged along because he wanted to see them sweep the city. But what if they just go wild and attack everything in sight? That could put them at a serious disadvantage, but Viper has no patience for doubters. Since the Black Witch is asleep, her grip on these monsters is weak. This drug will temporarily supercharge their feral instincts. She tells him to watch closely as she pours the vial on its snout, making the beast violently thrash and move. It works exactly as she planned, and the monsters will keep advancing. They are going to tear this shining city to shreds. But look closely here. A heavy guard perimeter has already formed at the Undercity entrance. It looks like the gang started another riot. Either the peacekeepers arrived, or things got completely out of hand. The head peacekeeper offers his thanks. With the thugs and defeated pioneers locked away under tight guard, they do not have to worry about any more trouble. Suddenly, a familiar voice calls out, "Glad they already finished." Kamalea made it sound like a massive emergency, but there was nothing to worry about. The crowd is thrilled to see him, and Red walks right up to Kai, demanding to know what trouble he caused this time. It is rare for him to get shocked, but this was a total surprise. This girl is his friend Mary, right? She changed a ton since they got separated, awakening her powers immediately after Kai did. Since too many people are watching them here, they decide to head back to headquarters. Returning to the Dawn Pioneer Corps, Kamalea is thrilled that Red recruited another powerhouse. Another awakened has risen right after Kai. Simply amazing. She already recognizes her while Red asks for her honest opinion. Since these Lumial Awakeners are currently the biggest talking point across the entire city, any color that manifests in a colorless person belongs to an elite figure strong enough to leave a permanent mark on history. She is no exception as a brilliant engineer who built Kai's ink drain. Kamalea admires her beautiful, vivid colors. She is truly gorgeous. Is she interested in joining the Dawn Corps? They can offer her absolutely anything she desires. She isn't planning to join any other corps, right? Sure, every faction wants her now, but they will treat her 3 times better than anyone else. Kai just smiles at Mary, and she agrees to the deal. She genuinely wants to join the Dawn Corps to achieve a personal goal of her own. Kamalea loves that strong determination. Why not sign a contract right now? She just needs to sign here, but before she can make it official, another colorist enters, admitting he was eavesdropping, and flatly refuses to accept her into their ranks so easily. There is a mandatory test every recruit must pass first. They all head down to the training arena, leaving Kamalea absolutely furious. He is so stubborn, and that is where we leave it. Will another group snatch her up first? Alright, you and I are jumping right in as this man asks Mary if she is ready. Since she already picked out her weapon, he gets straight to explaining the rules of this very simple test. Her only task is defeating a test golem. This monster represents the bare minimum combat standard required to join them. If she cannot survive against a basic dummy like this, she has no business stepping into the Black Land. Honestly, giving her a sudden exam with 0 warning is highly unusual. Still, she must prove her worth so the others accept her. He knows she is just an engineer, not a seasoned warrior. However, if her awakened power is genuine, a simple challenge like this should be an absolute walk in the park. It is time to proudly prove that she belongs among them. The trial begins. The massive golem immediately lunges forward, throwing heavy punches. Seeing the danger, Kamalea panics, screaming at him to stop this madness. How could he throw a kid who barely knows how to fight into combat? He should have trained her first. What if she gets angry and leaves for another guild? Meanwhile, Mary is completely deaf to the noise, wondering what to do. Now pay attention here. She can't doubt herself now, because running away is no longer an option. She begins channeling her raw energy straight into the spoit. Pushing the tool to its absolute limit, she aims to destroy the machine in a single strike. Her massive blast shatters the ceiling, leaving everyone frozen in disbelief. Even the yellow-haired color master is stunned by what just happened. She briefly matched his power level, and this is her first time even using a spoit. Her talent is unreal, but Mary cannot control it, and her energy begins leaking everywhere. She desperately screams for help as panic sets in, accidentally blasting several more massive holes right through the roof. They quickly clean up the wreckage while Mary apologizes, but Camellia laughs it off, telling her to ignore it. She cannot believe they found such an incredible talent out of nowhere. Her strength easily crushed the passing grade, despite being ambushed with a surprise test while nervous. She proved her power. With that, she is welcomed into the Dawn Pioneer Corps. Gathering such capable members is comforting, and she eagerly anticipates what they will achieve from now on. She turns to her uncle, and honestly, you and I know there can't be any complaints now. He claims he never objected, but merely needed solid proof to make her sudden entry convincing to the others. Bypassing the standard rules would cause outrage, but her sheer output was undeniably off the charts. She could easily be the strongest of her generation, so she must stop calling him uncle in public. It ruins her reputation. Still, Camellia tells him to loosen up since they are off duty. Being overly formal all the time will only alienate people. With that, she drags Mary away because they still need to prepare her gear and finalize the official admission paperwork. Kai was stressed by the sudden exam, but feels incredibly relieved that it worked out. Just then, Red approaches, asking if the welcoming is finished. Since they are completely free today, Red realizes this is the absolute best moment to strike. He was too swamped with work before to help them train properly, making this perfect. He orders them to follow him for an incredibly crucial lesson, leading the group to a completely empty training field. This is the ideal spot to go wild without worrying about onlookers. The area features heavy training targets, modeled after durable shell beasts. Standard strikes will not even scratch them. They must observe this technique carefully if they plan on surviving the Black Lands. Learning this is non-negotiable. He casually draws his blade and strikes the metal target. Even the finest weapons have boundaries. No matter how strong, their power will eventually hit a hard wall. They will encounter monsters with completely impenetrable armor and beasts that instantly heal from any fatal wound. To bypass this, they must use Chroma manifestation, wrapping the weapon in raw color. This is the same powerful Chroma skill he unleashed against the swordsman. By drawing out their inner color, they coat their body and gear to manifest diverse glowing techniques. Overlaying these forces grants unbelievable strength, completely eclipsing their standard abilities. And trust me, you and I are about to watch them shred absolutely everything. Alright, you and I are diving into a world where these pioneers must master their core skills to survive. Each needs a reliable trump card, because absolutely anything can happen out there in the dangerous Black Land. The clean cut leaves everyone completely stunned, prompting Kai to immediately ask about becoming a colorist. Is this a skill they really must master completely? For Red, this is just the bare minimum for any colorist. These are only the absolute basics. Once they reach higher rank, they will see almost everyone using them. And if they climb even higher, becoming S-rank pioneers by passing a brutal exam, only then do they get recognized as true colorists. But for now, they need to draw their weapons and get ready. He is finally teaching them how to train Chroma. It sounds complicated, but it is just an extension of themselves. They already know that exact spark right before their power activates, when they are ready to release color. Normally, they just let that color spill out freely. This time, they must do something different. Instead of letting it bleed away, they have to visualize the color sinking straight into their bodies and weapons. It is incredibly tough, but they must extract every drop. Pay attention here, because as they try it, the struggle is real, and their color instantly drains away. They are going to end up completely colorless like this. Red knew this training would crush them. Still, for these three, it is a phenomenal start. Many take years just to grasp this feeling, so they cannot get arrogant just yet. A fast start is just raw talent, but making that power truly theirs is going to take real effort. Kai, however, pulls it off effortlessly. He casually mentions he has done this before, wondering if this is actually Chroma. Ellie finally connects the dots, realizing his mysterious trick back in the ruins was indeed Chroma. Red finds him incredibly fun to teach, realizing that looking back, this shocking result was probably inevitable. Currently, he is just forcing a ridiculous amount of power inside. It is raw brute force with zero refinement, but hey, it works. Explaining the actual theory right now would just cause a headache. Besides, he is burning through way too much color. At this rate, he will run completely dry in just a few strikes. Kai realizes this, but his control is lacking. He is trying to fix his output right now, and seeing this, Red finally understands. He has been surviving that insane drain by constantly absorbing more color. Red tells the other two to keep pushing until their Chroma finally manifests. If they do not want to get left in Kai's dust, they need to grind harder. But for Kai, there is an issue far more urgent than mastering Chroma. Right now, his foundation is actually weaker than Gale or Ellie. I know what you are thinking, but he cannot rely on that spoit. He is dumping 100 units of power when 10 is enough. Sure, that raw power looks incredible, but eventually it will become a double-edged sword that destroys him. He tried controlling it, but he is still just dumping color blindly with zero actual control. He is wasting almost all of it. Relying purely on absorption is an incredibly dangerous strategy. If he fights someone slightly stronger who can resist his draw, he will be completely trapped. Just imagine the nightmare if he suddenly runs dry. He survived until now, but can he guarantee his safety in a dark place crawling with monsters? Kai finally understands. He was in far more danger than he ever realized. The spoit is off, so what is next? Red commands him to unleash every single ounce of power to establish a baseline. Kai complies, leaving Red absolutely stunned by the raw output. He was impressed during their first meeting, but Kai has somehow grown exponentially stronger since then. Kai is already completely exhausted trying to hold this without ink. It is brutal, but Red demands he maintain it. If his level drops even slightly, he will end him. Kai protests the threat, but Red is dead serious. How disappointing. He claimed he wanted to be a colorist, yet he cannot even endure this. Where is that burning resolve now? Angered by the taunt, Kai snaps back and vows to hold the form. By the end, they are all completely drained, having burned through their ink. Kai dreads having to repeat this torture daily. He never expected training to be this grueling, having already chugged countless bottles of his own personal ink. Red acknowledges their solid effort, noting it is a decent start for day one. It is time to wrap things up. They immediately start walking away, thinking they are finally free, but Red never said they could leave. He never said they were finished. In fact, the real nightmare starts now with some brutal live combat training. So they must fight like their lives depend on it, and trust me, you do not want to miss what comes next. Thanks for watching.